Yes, you are now listening to the sounds of Sports Reports as Ordered. And soon to join me is the world famous, the world renowned. Born in Texas, raised in VA, representing everything New Jerusalem. He is Mr. Logical, and he wants you to know that the Jets and Giants offices may be in Jersey, but they draft like they from New York. Don't bring feelings to a fact fight. And it's I, your statistician, going left so much you thought I was southpaw. I duck and move like Raleigh Romero needs to when he sees Ryan Garcia. I am 2-5. It's draft night, baby. Like, review, subscribe, share, rate, do all the free things. Do all the good things. And have you a liquid death while you doing that. So tonight's the night, right? We got to figure out who is going to hit the jackpot. What teams out there are going to make deals? What teams are going to find themselves with extra picks by the end of the night? You know, I'm hoping my team, the Washington Commanders here, as you can see, I'm hoping that they will trade back and maybe we get ourselves a running back at the top of round 2, with a little bit of corner, maybe a safety in there, get some defensive backs going on. Obviously, we got a lot of holes to fill, mostly on the defensive end. Went and got Deebo Samuel this summer, or I should say this spring. And, so that'll help out the offense some, even though we lost De'Ami Brown. So I wouldn't mind seeing another receiver somewhere down the draft, something like a Jalen Royals from Utah State. But that's not tonight. That'll be tomorrow. Tonight, the big guns are coming out. The Travis Hunters, the Cam Wards, the Abdul Carters, Ashton Genty. Are we going to see more than Ashton Genty? Is there going to be an Amarion Hampton sighting? Is there going to be a Travion Henderson sighting? What about these tight ends? You know how I feel about Tyler Warren. I thought that he should have got more Heisman consideration. But I do think that Colston Loveland will probably have the better career. What about Jahdae Barron? Whoever drafts him, I think is going to get a bona fide star. I mean, he reminds me of Trent McDuffie. Just that type of talent, that type of impact on a football game. And even though Travis Hunter got all the praise and is considered to be the best DB in the draft, only one of those two names I just mentioned won the Thorpe Award. Guess who it was? So, we know that Cam Ward's going number 1. But what does it all mean? Is Cam Ward that guy? Because when I look back at this draft in a few years, I wonder if I'm going to look back and say, maybe you should have waited another year for a quarterback. And it's not even because any of those guys aren't any good or anything like that.
In the building.
Mr. Logical is here, y'all. But it's one of those things, right? Like Cam Ward might turn out to be a really good quarterback. But, as I look at it, I don't see generational. I don't see Shedeur as generational. I don't see Jaxson Dart as generational. So obviously, with that said, I don't see really any of the quarterbacks in this draft as generational. Somebody will break through. The cream always rises to the top. But as we sit here today, I don't see that. So what's the word, Mr. Logical? I was letting everybody know that even though the Jets and the Giants have offices in New Jersey, they draft like they from New York.
They draft like they're just flipping coins in the office.
Yeah.
I heard a mock draft today that had them taking Tyler Warren to get some production from the tight end position. I also saw them just going simple, getting the tackle.
Who's also, that? You talking about the Giants?
The Jets.
Oh, the Jets. Okay.
The Giants had 3. According to Ian Rappaport, number 3 and Shedeur is in play. I'm not sure exactly what that means. I don't know if that means.
Well, I think that
somebody's
the Giants
calling
want
up to come to 3.
I think the Giants want Shedeur, but they know they can get him later.
Why would you get Jamison Russell then? Because I think you're rolling the dice. Because we talked about it, like you and I were talking yesterday. It's like it's something we're missing as far as quarterbacks. Like, hey, is there a team out there that could make this move and we're just not seeing it because we're so focused on seeing the forest, we can't see the trees? I just don't see it. Unless somebody like Arizona does something nutty because they're sick of Kyler Murray. But every situation, I think that kind of situation with Kyler Murray, if you draft Shedeur, it's the media circus. Off the rip, it's the media circus
Well, I mean,
because
you got to
Shedeur
let him
Sanders.
go.
That's what I mean. So it's like it's not that many. I don't think there's that
It's
many
not like
spots.
it's not like you're looking at Kyler Murray telling him to develop or mentor somebody.
Correct. Like I
You know,
said, if you
Roger
get
Goodell and
Jaxson
Lil
Dart,
Wayne on the bikes, huh?
like if you get Jaxson Dart, then people are thinking, like, you know what? Maybe he might need a year to sit. But Shedeur, you go, you can go 2-2 in the first 4 games, but your quarterback is completing like 59% of his passes and he's 3 touchdowns and 4 picks, but you just happen to eke out a couple of wins. Just be like, so coach, do you think you're going to get more production out of the quarterback position if you know, with Shedeur, or you still stick with Kyler? And like now, that's going to be a question every week: win, lose, or draw. And I don't know if teams, like I said, I don't think teams are wired for it because I'm not sure a lot of people understand. Like, hey, this is your job. You already got it locked in. You're the
Right.
GM. Your contract is this many years. You're the coach. You're locked in this many years. So even if they fire you, really, only thing that's going to hurt is your pride. Your pockets are legit.
Right.
You
And
signed
I
a 5-year,
saw on
$20 million deal, and they fire you after 2. Bet, run me the rest of my money. I'm gonna go watch my kids play soccer for the next few summers. You know what I'm saying? So
you
it's
know
like everyone's operating like they don't have guaranteed money. It's like the pride thing is on the line. Like, nah, like you got to make the smart decisions for your teams. And I don't know if a lot of guys are have that kind of gumption.
well, on a side note, what I'm saying, I saw your guy Kitty Cat trying to get into the middle of a scrap. You know what I mean?
Listen,
We'll
all you gotta do, you come here, you put them Timbs on, and all of a sudden you want to fight.
yeah, waiting on word to see what's going on with Jimmy Butler. The early word is a pelvis contusion, so the Warriors and Rockets don't pick up their series until Saturday, so he has an extra day to try to get better. There's a lot going on. Memphis and Oklahoma City starting in about an hour. And of course the Clippers and Nuggets, the best series going, somehow got the NBA TV billing. Who does that? But we're waiting here. We already know that Cam Ward is going number one. So there's a little suspense that's gone. I hate this where we get these leaks days early, or like even when we're watching the draft, somebody's on Twitter leaking what's about to happen. Like, why am I watching this if you're just about to tell me anyway? But anyway,
Yeah,
Mr.
Matthew
Logical.
Stafford was probably one of the first guys I remember having a number, like they already had him locked up before. I think Mario Williams did the same thing.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
remember
I don't
thinking
like.
like,
I
yo,
mean, I
leave
don't
some
care that
suspense out
teams.
there.
I don't care that teams do it, but it just doesn't need to be public. Like, why am I watching? It's like when I watch wrestling. These dudes be talking about, yeah, I saw that The Rock is gonna be. Why are you telling me that? Like, I wanted to
Yeah.
watch him actually be surprised, and maybe that's
Or
why I don't
somebody
like it.
catches him at the airport, like, oh, the Rock's private jet just landed.
Yeah,
Why else is he in Orlando this weekend?
yeah. Everybody just want to know everything, every single minute, and shout out. Actually, I'll come back to that. But Mr. Logical, now that we know that the Titans are going to take Cam Ward with the number one draft pick, I wanted to get your thoughts on what happens with Will Levis now. Is that a draft? Is there a possibility that
he's a draft casualty. He he didn't live up to any kind of hype. Uh, he didn't perform, and like I said, I always go back to that camera with Tua had on his helmet at practice and how difficult it is to play quarterback and how tight the spaces are, and if you don't pull the trigger right when you see it or whatever the case, that's all well and good. But there are guys who are coming into the league, your age, your amount of experience, and they're performing way better than you.
Mhm.
You performed yourself out of stability. You performed yourself out of, professional expectations. It's like you didn't do what you need to do to keep your job. So
Right.
if they keep you and you could do the whole, maybe he comes in and he has to beat you out. I doubt it when they bring in the number one pick and you haven't been that successful. So I imagine that he's going to spend the next few years getting jobs because, like I said, he looks the part. 6'4", 6'5", big body, big
And
arm.
quarterbacks take time sometimes.
Nah,
Because I mean, people still out there with hope for people like Zach Wilson.
I don't think people have hope for him. I think people just
They just
think
trying. They're just
they
like, I
try
got
not
it
to
wrong,
just
and I'm.
yeah. Like I think people because people are not people. We'll say the pundits who had him going number 2. Anyone who watched college football that year was like, you knew he wasn't the second best quarterback after Trevor Lawrence. He wasn't the second best player in the draft. He just rolled left, threw the ball sidearm back right in that thin mountain air where the ball travels. People don't realize Utah's like, I think Pro was probably like 4,900 feet.
Yeah.
Where he threw it, so the ball traveled a little bit more, just like the balls in Colorado, the Rockies Stadium. So he had a great throw. He wowed everyone, but then he couldn't. He got in the NFL. He couldn't hit the check down.
Speaking of the Rockies, did you know the Rockies have a worse record than the White Sox?
They might as well just combine teams
You
and
know
just
the
and
White
see who
Sox.
get some wins.
So the White Sox won 41 games last year. They're on pace for 33 this year. They're 5-19 right now. Colorado's 4-19 or something along those lines. So like it's
Well,
just
baseball has a real problem because it's like it's a lot like Division One college football. Yeah, you can't go out there and get the talent. The avenue is for you. The avenue is available. You can go out and get it, but you need everything else to be glitz and glamour to afford it. You might be able to, like I said, I always use Toledo as an example. They might be able to find a booster that can bring $500,000 to the table and get a top player. But if the facilities don't match what you're gonna get at a different school, it's like this 500,000, but I can go to this other school and get 500,000 and have better facilities, better dorms,
well the good
better
news is
location in the city.
well the good news is if you could build a good enough team and get some ratings, you could make the college football playoff.
And same thing with the World Series, but you got to buy it in college. Like the Colorado owner came out before the season started, said, "I wish it wasn't so difficult."
Yeah. Well then you know what? Sell the team.
I
Somebody's
mean, might
willing to
as
spend
well.
it.
Why stress yourself out?
Somebody's willing to spend it.
Why you stress yourself out for 31 out of 162
What
games?
John Elway up to these days?
Out here patting his back over Bo Nix, thinking he nailed one.
I don't
Someone's
even think
gonna
he's the
draft Tyler.
GM anymore, is he?
Is he? I thought he
That's
was
why I
still.
said that. I don't
They
think
let
he's
him.
the
They let him
GM.
go,
Yeah, I thought he got let go already.
or did he step down?
I don't think he's there. Yeah, he's not there anymore. He left in 2023.
Oh,
Yeah,
shows you what I know.
he retired and said that he doesn't have the desire anymore.
Yeah, that sounds like somebody was gonna fire him.
Well, I mean, fire me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he put a Super Bowl team together,
Yeah,
and
he
you know what I
got
mean.
Peyton
Got
Manning
to
to come
another
there.
one. No, fine. I mean, you got it. That's part of your job, right? Your job is to get Peyton Manning there.
He pretty much did the same thing Magic Johnson did.
Yeah.
He answered the text message.
So, while we're sitting up here waiting for the inevitable to be announced, um, is there a real chance, that James Cook starts the season somewhere other than Buffalo?
If he wants $20 million, yeah.
Yeah. So I
I don't.
know.
I don't think Saquon's success is going to extrapolate across the entire league the way people think it is. I think guys who prove for a couple of years that they have the same type of impact as Saquon, because you got to keep in mind Saquon's been in the league for a long time, doing what he was doing, and it still took him leaving and walking away from the team that drafted him, where he was a star, to get his money in Philly. So I think Buffalo, like most teams, they're probably banking on, I got to spend X amount of dollars on the high end for tackles, offensively and defensively, defensive ends, wide receivers, quarterback.
Okay.
I'm gonna blow a lot of money. Like you're gonna blow a lot of money in those positions. So if I have a $22 million tackle, and a $25 million guard, and a $20 million guard, and another $20 million tackle, I could put a $1.7 million running back behind that and
Right.
get 4.5 yards of carry, which is is what you want as a team. And if not, I'll take my $55 million quarterback and we'll just do QB sneaks and rollouts, and that's how we'll make it up that way. Yeah, it's just unfortunate. It's just a lot of players aren't always in the position to get what they rightfully deserve. I had this conversation today with some people at work saying that the college football players shouldn't get $1 million in NIL. I'm like, there should be no cap on what someone wants to pay you for your services.
All right, so hold up, stay there real quick. I'm gonna ask you, or I'm gonna bring up a question real quick, and then we're gonna get back to that. So with James Cook, if you're a team like, say, and this is just me spitballing, if you're a team like, say, Chicago, and you can't trade up to get Ashton Genty, is that something you maybe look at, or do you just keep the rookie, like go through the draft still?
I mean, I say no. I'd pay a guy I drafted and developed. I'd pay him that kind of money. Like I said, I'm not saying it's easy to replace the running back, but Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, rarefied air. Christian McCaffrey, superstar, not always available. So that position and the hits that those positions take is like he might just have a shoulder stinger. Could cost you a couple of games. Hamstring could cost you. I'm not saying he's injury prone, but to put that much money in one position and then you're going to go find a practice squad or a 5th round guy to replace him for the 2 or 3 weeks that he's not in there, and that guy's going to produce.
I mean, Ray Davis, right? They just Buffalo just drafted him last year.
Sometimes it has to be about fit, and I think the money, yes, they should get paid, but it's not going to be like the quarterbacks where Tua got 50 plus, Trevor got 50 plus,
Herbert
got 50 plus,
Burrow
got 50
Allen,
plus.
Yeah,
it's like you're not as running backs aren't as. I don't want to use valuable because I think
they're just not as coveted. They're not
coveted. Yeah, that's a good word. That's a good word. And I think that, and it's unfortunate, but the problem here lies is that the next team, it's not going to be a lot of teams like Philly that are going to give you $2 to $3 more million than you were asking your old team and then extend you after one good season. Because even if you went to Chicago and they gave you, say you compromised and they gave you 3 years, $48 million.
Okay.
That's a good chunk of change. They're not gonna restructure that if you go out and have a Saquon kind of year. They're gonna be like, thanks.
Right. We appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate that. Now do the same thing next year for the same check.
So now we officially have the Tennessee Titans. They have selected Jordan Love with the number 1 pick. And we got to trade. Jacksonville moves up to 2nd. And they get a 4th and a 6th round pick from Cleveland for the 5th overall pick, 2nd, 4th, and a 2026 1st round pick. So is Jacksonville going Travis Hunter here? And and before we answer that, because we'll wait for that, but Mr. Logical, back to the point you were making. Yeah. I was thinking about this because I saw this come up yesterday with Madden Iyamiava, Nico's little brother. Do you think that schools should be able to get NIL back from a player?
No.
Why not? Tell me more, because I think they should.
Because I'm not getting paid off my performance. So my NIL has nothing to do with the school. The school's not paying me my NIL. My NIL's off my name, image, and likeness, not off of team image and likeness. It's not a TIL.
But you're giving that NIL not for performance, but that your ass is going to be here.
You're giving that NIL money based off my name, image, and likeness. There's no contractual guarantee. Because, like I said,
well, that's the problem. There needs to be
my scholarship's not guaranteed. So people keep talking about the money.
It is for that year.
Guaranteed. Yeah, if I play that year, then that's it.
But hold up, stay there for a second. Stay there, because this is what I'm trying to get to. So let's just say, you're a freshman. You come on the campus. We go through spring practice, and we have our spring game. I name another guy to starting quarterback. You decide that you're going to leave because of that. I might need some money back from you.
You paid me for last year.
Not if you were a freshman coming in. You haven't even started yet. Like
that's bad business on you. Why would you pay me to come here and then name somebody else a starter?
Because everybody else, well, I mean, you still got to perform. Like, I can't just give you the starter because I paid you.
But like I said, the money isn't allocated from the school, so the player doesn't owe any money back to the school.
Okay, fair. The school, but to the collective.
But if I'm a booster, if that's not part of the deal, there's no honor amongst money.
I can't imagine I'm not trying to be to not have like some kind of protection in place.
I would hope that you, as a freshman, incoming freshman who got paid, Bryce Underwood, like you got to the school, that you aren't looking to get out at the first sign of adversity, especially if you're getting the type of money that a lot of these younger players are getting. So right. Out of respect for your job, I imagine that you're going to be there. But all of these teams talking about, hey, if I develop a guy and he transfers, you owe me money. Nope.
Yeah.
That's not the name of the game. No, if you want to collectively bargain and make that happen, okay. But if that's not the name of the game, it's not the name of the game.
Well, no, I just think that so this is the thing, right? Because you and I both not protect. We want the players to get paid. Yeah, we want the players to get paid. That's what I was trying to say. Advocate. We advocate for the players to get paid. We think that they should have been paid. And you could even argue to some degree within reason that they're still not being paid enough when you look at what the schools are making. Like we always talk about the Big Ten and their $7 billion TV deal. So you making $7 billion and breaking me off 200,000 and I'm supposed to be happy about it. Like I get it, but
0.00017%.
Right.
Your $2 billion.
Right. But with that being said, right, it can't be all slanted towards the players. You know what I mean? Like there has to be some kind of rules and balances in here, because these guys, and I'm not saying that they're wrong. I don't agree with it, but that's their right to do it. They pick up and leave when things don't go their way. Like, season hasn't even started yet. Like what if, I mean, hypothetically, knock on wood, you don't want this to happen, but the guy that I named starter could tear his Achilles before the season starts. And now you go sit on somebody else's bench.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, yes, and we are always advocates for the players. But the players getting a very small financial piece of the pie. It's being covered as if that player is breaking the bank. So I think the narrative around the money makes it seem like these guys are ultra greedy. Yeah. Now, the NCAA has to stop lying to themselves and just flat out allow the conversation to be, you can negotiate directly with players and you can involve boosters and involve advertisers, whoever it may be, and come to an agreement on money before that person signs. And that way you can put it all on the same document. Because what's happening now is that my scholarship is separate from my NIL. So you give me the scholarship, I come to the school, the boosters or whatever raise this money, I get my $500,000. I don't like the coach. I don't like how he handles in-game situations when it's tight. This $500,000 came separate from my scholarship. Mm-hmm. So there's no obligation for my money to be tied to the scholarship. So if I've done my year, and like I said, it's a one year renewable contract for scholarships. If I go to the coach, like, listen, don't renew me, I'm going to transfer. That $500,000 had nothing to do with the school. Mm-hmm. Because you didn't. You didn't allow
scenario, yes, but I'm not
because that's what the scenario is.
But I'm not talking about someone who played for a year or stayed for a year. I'm talking about you enrolled, you
It's a
didn't get the
bad move because
job, and then you
the
left.
kid from Iowa did that. He left. I think he left to go back to Iowa, got money,
Oh yeah, Caden Proctor from Alabama.
and then left and went back to
Yeah,
Alabama. Correct.
yeah.
That's a snake move. But if you do that, that's going to set you back.
Hey, Mr.
That's
Logic.
going to make. What's
Hey,
that?
say it with me. Duval.
Oh, yes, right.
Travis Hunter is on
Going
his
back to
way to
Florida.
Jacksonville, Florida. What do you think about that?
The reason I didn't like him going to Cleveland because I didn't think they had the quarterback that was going to take advantage of his skill set.
You don't think Jacksonville does either?
I think Jacksonville has the belief in their quarterback and the stability basically because of the contract and the new coach. So I think there's hope. Whereas I think Cleveland didn't have any offensive hope. So I figure you just bolster the defense. And I think that's probably what they're going to do. But I like it. He's going back to Florida.
Hopefully he gains some weight soon.
I mean, he's been playing at that size for however many years. I imagine he'll put on some more. But if you can handle the rigors
in general,
I've
been seeing some wild comparisons though. I've been seeing some wild comparisons. I saw one guy compare him to Justin Jefferson as a wide receiver and Champ Bailey as a corner. And then I saw somebody else compare him to Patrick Surtain as a corner.
I think the Justin Jefferson is probably the spectacular catch comparison. The high point, go up and get it.
I hope that's what it is.
And then I think the Champ Bailey is the run support. I'm not sure if it's everything. I think it's like those two pieces make sense. The spectacular catch, the go up and get it, the he's down there somewhere, let the ball go kind of ability to high point the ball. And then
I think Champ Bailey might be one of those. I think Champ Bailey might be one of those lazy comparisons just because Champ played both sides as well. Because you can't necessarily compare him to Charles Woodson. You know what I mean? So
Champ Bailey, like I said, Champ Bailey was big in run support. He was always he was wearing that shoulder brace probably for the last 3 or 4 years of his career.
Yeah,
just because he's like, I'm coming up and making this tackle. And I think Travis plays that kind of way. We saw the fumble he caused at the goal line. And just kind of sticking his nose in there, being physical.
Game-winning fumble.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So props to him for that against Baylor, Yeah. So what do you think about that, T-Rob? You know what I'm saying? All that for Travis Hunter. I mean, I'm with you, to some degree. But I mean, I guess, if you believe he's the guy, that's what you do. I'm not necessarily in agreement that I would have done that, but I can't hate on Jacksonville for trying to get better.
But, I mean, if you look at Jacksonville, they've drafted defensive linemen first or second overall, top 5 for the last few years. They got the quarterback. They got the quarterback locked in. They seem to be able to bring in free agents. They have the new coach. It's exactly what we said Chicago should do last year. Like, bring in the new look, bring in a new regime, and, make the splash, go all the way. Because we felt like Chicago was 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Yeah, don't make a splash just to make a splash, but make a splash to show your fan base that, we're serious. We're getting past the mediocrity that you're used to.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always better options for every team. But, the year that Cincinnati took Jamar Chase over Penei Sewell, it was these guys are college teammates.
I'm with you, Rob.
They had one of the greatest college football seasons. So we'll worry about protecting him later. Right now, let's give him his guy.
Let's give him a target.
Give him his, not just a target, but his guy. It looks
like the Giants pick is in already. So, we've seen reports saying that it was going to be Abdul Carter. So, so we'll see how that goes. You know what I mean? He went to Penn State. I was talking about him early in the season last year. He's one of those guys. We're gonna look back, I think, in about 10 years. I'm not saying he's going to be Myles Garrett or to that level or whatever, but I'm just saying he's going to be one of those guys in those type of conversations. He's going to be. I think he's going to be in Defensive Player of the Year.
And I might have to go check him out because he's going to be up here at MetLife.
And by the way,
Abdul Carter.
By the way, speaking of Defensive Player of the Year, did you see who won Defensive Player of the Year today?
I didn't see it. I was running around.
Brrr, the one and only Evan Mobley of the Cleveland Cavaliers.
The betting favorite was Dyson Daniels at plus or negative 1250. That means you
Yeah,
had to bet $1,250 to win
so I
$100.
got into it with our guy, Black Adam, because he was team Draymond and everything, and I just kind of reiterated what I said on here is that Draymond took too long of the year off. Like, you know what I mean? He started
Yeah,
off really hot, cooled down, turned it back on just in time to bitch about it on his podcast. No,
I
so so
think the
so Dyson
podcast probably
Dyson
rubbed people the
Daniels
wrong way. It's like, yo, we're sick of you just clamoring and begging for
so,
votes.
so Dyson Daniels didn't set the record, but he had a top 20 steal season of all time, and it was the most steals in the league since Allen Iverson back in 2003.
Average
So
over 3 steals a game.
yeah. So like he would have been a great pick for it. I also thought he could have got some consideration for most improved. So congratulations to Peyton Pritchard as well for winning the most improved award. It's not, I ain't gonna say it's not deserved or whatever, but hey, what do you know, by the way? The Celtics, right? No Jason Tatum, no problem.
And I think I saw somebody say, "Are you concerned about his injury?" It's like, not if he can rest for the next 8 days.
I would have to think, T Rob, I would have to think that the Browns probably go with Mason Graham, because I don't imagine that you didn't get Travis Hunter to go offense, but maybe, I don't know if Shedeur is on the table for them right now. I'm not one of these people that thinks Shedeur is going to fall out of the first round or anything like that, but I
I
still
think
think 5 might
Shedeur,
be too high.
Cam Ward is going to look a lot like Alex Smith, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I was thinking that last night too. Where
Yeah,
because
I was
Aaron
literally
Rodgers,
thinking that probably like an hour ago when I was preparing my food.
that draft still in my mind is just weird, wrong. Like, forget what we saw in the NFL, right? Like, Aaron Rodgers was obviously better. Forget that part of it. But, like, even just going back to college, like, Alex Smith was in, I don't want to call the offense a gimmick, but you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't
It's
necessarily
quirky.
a traditional offense. But, Aaron Rodgers was slicing up national champ USC and all this kind of stuff. Like, it was just weird. I know they were saying that there were some
I
issues
looked
with
at
his
some
throwing
old
motion.
Aaron Rodgers highlights. He held the ball very weird. It
Yeah,
was
that's what
very
I'm saying.
high and next to his head, and
But that's what
sometimes I
coaching is
believe.
for.
But like we talked about before, Mike Tomlin did that interview on the pivot. He
Like,
was
do these
like,
dudes just think they can't coach? Do they not believe in
I
themselves?
run the coaching, and sometimes you see the evaluation and you think like that is a habit we can't fix. We saw it with the Lakers when they took Lonzo Ball. They were like, you know what? Keep shooting like that. And then he got to New Orleans and they were like, you got to stop shooting like that.
Yeah.
You got to move this over to the right and keep working on it.
So are they? So you think the Giants are still planning on moving Thibodeau? So I know that's some rumors that we've seen. I
I
know they
don't.
picked up Brian Burns last year.
I think moving Thibodeau, the problem with that is like you're not going to get. I don't think you're going to get return value. I don't think someone's going to trade you a player, even if you think Thibodeau is only like, single, a few tackles for loss, but he gets you about 10 sacks. If you
Yeah.
think it's motor, but he gets you about 10 sacks. Say you want him to be around 14 to 16, and he comes in around towards the end of the season, week 15, 16, 17, and he's at 8.5.
Ooh, could the Browns go Ashton
That's
Genty?
that's probably more than you think you're gonna get if you trade him.
You
The
think the Browns could go? Oh,
Browns.
and I didn't forget what we talked about on the phone either. I'm just saving it for when that team
Yeah.
comes up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, trading out of two
Because Nick Chubb's gone.
So essentially, Cleveland passed on Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter
Okay.
to make this deal with Jacksonville.
Got to be Ashton Genty, right?
I'm waiting on a New England pick. It says the pick is in.
Or could you?
I'm waiting on my.
Can you think of a time where a team traded back in the first round more than once?
I was literally thinking that too. Are they taking another call?
Because I know, like, I've seen it in the NBA a few times, but
I mean, Cleveland is probably thinking 3-14 is likely.
I
And
mean, who
we
do you
talked.
start week 1? Do you start Pickett or Flacco? Like if you don't get another quarterback here,
I think you start Pickett. You start Pickett because we saw what he did in Pittsburgh. As soon as Russell Wilson showed up, he kind of powdered his way out. So what you do, you start Pickett, and then when the fans start asking for Flacco, you look at Pickett and say, "See, you played yourself out of a job.
and
You go sit over there next to Will Levis on the bench because we just picked him up because Tennessee released him."
and I do want to take a second and apologize to the Carolina Panthers because even though you're the center of the team that we're going to talk about here in a little bit, we're probably going to talk about the other team more. So let me go ahead and apologize and get that out the
Yeah,
way. So I think that as I look at the draft, there's a lot of players that we probably won't see tonight that I just wonder where they go. Because you remember last year I was talking about, Ollie Gordon coming off of a 1,700-yard season,
he
won
ran
the
it. They
Dope
ran for
Walker.
117 yards.
Yeah, like so like where does he end up? And is he damaged goods now? Was there something going on that we didn't know about last
I
year?
think his talent must be legit because Mike Gundy was like, you know what I'm gonna do as punishment? I'm gonna give him the ball 30 times.
Oh, that's what he said. Yeah, for the
Yeah,
DUI, I'm gonna give him the ball
yeah,
50
I'm
times.
getting the
Yeah,
ball 50 times a game. So like he must
yeah.
still be good enough.
And then, oh, by the way, we forgot to mention, not only did Tennessee pick up Jordan Love tonight, but Cam Ward, that is, Tyler Lockett announced last night that he signed with them. So there's a deep threat for you, 1 year,
Cam,
$4 million
Cam
contract.
Ward said something a few days ago. I saw a post that he said something like AJ Brown's good, but he's not Calvin Ridley. So I think that's when we knew like he was locked into Tennessee,
Hey,
which
Cam
was
Ward was
smart.
the dude that bought the teacher the apple, huh?
Yo, listen, this man. I saw another post. Him and DJ Ungalele, class of 2020. One was 0 stars, one was 5 stars. The 0 star guy is number
Probably
one
not
overall,
getting drafted.
and the 5 star guy is probably not going to get drafted. It's I was talking about it at work today with a guy in my office. I do a lot of like sports conversations, try to get different opinions because I have a very staunch opinion a lot of times when it comes to sports. So I like to hear other people's like thoughts on things or even like talk my ideas out loud. And we were
Right.
talking about how people think there's only one pathway to success in sports. And it's like deliberate things to get you in front of people. It's like, oh, you got to be on this team, so this coach sees you. You got to be on this camp, so this coach sees you. You got to be on this Nike tour, so these coaches see you. When it boils
Yeah.
down to it, life is a meritocracy. How much work did you put in? Yes, it's
Right.
not always going to look that way. You're going to have someone's going to have to take a flyer on you. But like you said, he was at the school in San Antonio, right down the block from you. Then he went to Washington State. And then now he went down to Miami
You
to
know, you
finish
know
up.
what Brock? I mean, see, I'm
Yeah.
about to fuck it up. You know what Cam Ward is? He's the college version of what Brock Purdy has become in the NFL.
When you
Just
get your
persevering.
opportunity, you gotta grab the bull by the horns. I know it sounds cliche. Yes, we talk about Thibodeau. Thibodeau was a highly ranked player coming out of California. He was good at Oregon, drafted high. He's on the Giants, and maybe you think his motor isn't, up to par. He's not getting the production you need. So he got a leg up for those rankings. He got some more opportunities, but that doesn't mean that you can't be Zach Bond,
Right.
play 1 year for $3 million, get interception in the Super Bowl, and now you're locked into probably the Super Bowl front runner again. So it's like sometimes your opportunity comes when you least expect it, but it will never come without the work. And I
All right,
think
here
Cam
comes
Ward
Roger
is
Goodell,
and
or as or as
Shedeur in the same boat. Shedeur was at HBCU. Shedeur and Travis Hunter stay at HBCU with Deion Sanders and all the hype. They're not first round picks. But they go and like, you know what? We're gonna follow this, we're gonna work hard, we're gonna go
Will
4-8 one
Campbell.
year. Yeah.
Will,
Will Campbell tackle
got
out
to
of
get your
LSU.
protection for Drake May and T. Rob. We about to get the answer to your
You gotta
question because
tell
the
Drake
Browns.
May you are not in high school anymore. The
We're
dude
about.
you're running over didn't just have chemistry class at 1 o'clock. Get your ass on the ground and stop taking these hits. Remember the game he came in against the Jets? I think
Yeah.
it was a game against the Jets.
Thursday night
Jacoby
football.
Brissett. Yeah. Man, this dude was getting blasted.
Yeah.
Pause. I was like, yo, the game's over. Why are you out here taking these unnecessary hits? Like one hit he took, I thought he was gonna be out for a couple of days. I was like, it's 24-3, dog. It is a wrap.
And
But
so
yeah,
Will Campbell,
New
to
England's
the
going to New
Patriots,
England.
and we're about to get our answer because the Cleveland Browns are now on the clock.
I
You
think the
know,
Will Campbell move is kind of weak, though.
well, like the Patriots, I know our resident Patriot fan, one of them, Cups wanted to go Ted McMillan with that pick, but they went out and got Stephon Diggs. They went out and got Matt Collins. So they have a crowded receiver room as it is. So, and you got
Man,
Vrabel as your head coach.
that's the thing. Stephon Diggs is a precise route runner. I'm
He's trying to
running
get rid of
this.
these quarterbacks.
I'm running this route. I'm putting my foot in the ground. When I turn my head, the ball need to be there. That's tough for a young quarterback because he doesn't know that when I turn, yeah, the DB's right there. But on this third stride, I'm gonna hit him with this elbow, and I'm gonna get my hands up and I'm gonna create the space. So Stephon Diggs will be running a lot of routes in the space where he thinks he should get the ball, and Drake May's not gonna get it. Sometimes you just got to go get the home run guy, get the over the top guy. I got a young quarterback. Either get me the big tight end that's gonna be 8 to 10 yards from line of scrimmage, big white gloves, or whatever the team color gloves is. I know like the New England way, they didn't like when you wore white gloves because you could see the holds and stuff like that.
These little
But give me
kids
a
out
big
here
tight
clapping.
end.
We don't know who the fuck Will Campbell is.
No, they just been hearing it all week on the news. But I think sometimes like New England they're gonna be so conservative that they're in their best season in the next couple of years is gonna be 7-10. Because
Yeah.
they think they got to carry on the Belichick way. Belichick had Tom Brady. Like I don't know why people aren't recognizing how great. And I know Bill Belichick's a great coach, but you gave him a great quarterback to where he can do simple stuff defensively and be effective. Because I talked about this with my father yesterday. He's like Aaron Rodgers down 10-3 in the fourth. 7 minutes to go, he gets the ball.
It's over.
He's probably not going to get you a touchdown.
It's over.
It just historically it just
There's
wasn't a
stats
thing.
that showed that it's over.
Yeah, if he's up 10-3, then maybe he'll get you 17-3. But he's down 10-3, not likely to get you a touchdown. Tom Brady down 20-10, 9 minutes to go in the fourth. You believe you can win that game 24-20. So he won't panic with the defense. Because Bill is like, listen, you guys get a stop. Tom is gonna get us in the end zone. They're gonna kick the ball off back to them. You guys are gonna get us another stop, and Tom's gonna get us into the end zone. We're gonna win this game 24-20. Everyone thinks they can do that in New England, and like you can't.
So the Browns went Mason Graham. But here's a quick question for you. Since I was hoping that it would be Ashton Genty there, just because as going back to our conversation, I want the running backs to get acknowledged again. But as far as Ashton Genty goes, how is there somebody that he makes you think of when he runs, or like just somebody like that's in
like
the
a
league,
big
right?
Maurice Jones, like a bigger Maurice Jones-Drew.
Okay,
Hits
I
the
was thinking like
whole stocky, built hard to tackle, north and south, not a lot of wiggle. Like not like deliberately. He's like, I don't need to make this wiggle. Like the hole is here, stretch play to the left, plant my right foot, hitting this gap, and now I'm on top of linebacker. And he has to make a decision in space, and I'm gone.
Yeah,
I think the Raiders should go with him at 6. Like I said,
I agree.
I'm getting updates from NFL.com. I'm still
I
charging
honestly
on my
think,
iPad.
yeah, I'm actually watching the draft. I moved my son's TV beside the laptop here or the computer here. So I got my little command center going on. I was actually thinking that, yeah, the Raiders should either grab him, or I think I would like to see Tet go to the Raiders, or might still be a little too early for a DB because the Raiders are one of those teams that
The
need
Raiders
a lot of help.
do, but I think for them, I know Al Davis back in the day, rest in peace, was like, if you're fast, I'm drafting you. I I think Tom Brady being the guy who only really had Randy Moss as like a big primary target, a big target. I think he understands like, hey, as long as the guy knows how to run routes, and honestly, we keep mentioning Tom Brady. I have no idea what his cachet or his sway in the draft room is. I don't know if he's actually in the physical draft room right now. I can't see because I'm not on TV.
Right.
So I don't know how much his 10% really factors into decision making. More of
I
just
would imagine that.
it's just location. Like, hey, I own 10% of this team in Las
I would
Vegas,
imagine
and
that they're not
Las Vegas
treating
about to get a
him.
baseball team. They about to get another kind of team, and it's going to be through the roof.
I would imagine they're not treating Tom Brady the way Nico treated Mark Cuban.
Poor Nico. Had no idea the impact of Luca. Like, did you go to the game?
Did you see the 77s in the
Did you
crowd?
see 19,000 people and 14,000 wearing 77 jerseys?
Did you see people
Every
hanging on
40
to every dribble while he had Kyrie Irving on the same team, but they were holding on to his dribble? Yo,
chaos. But
Nico,
just like I say, you
I
gotta
swear,
get the nerves out of the front office.
you know what's
I
funny?
know it sounds disparaging. I'm gonna make my disclaimer now because I've been saying it all day. Sometimes you're too damn smart for your own good. That's why I love the Detroit Lions. Dan Campbell and all those dudes in the office, he had them wearing Dan Campbell jerseys during the draft. Like, listen, this is a football team. I am a football player. I'm biting kneecaps. I'm getting dudes who like to bite and fight and scratch and claw.
Did I
I
send
don't
you?
care if the guy's arms are 36 and a quarter or 35. Can he fight, scratch and claw, and bite kneecaps? That's what I want. So
Did
that's
I
my
send you
disclaimer
that
about getting the
video of
nerves out of them.
Nico and his girl on Portland Love or whatever it was? Like,
Nico who? Oh,
like
Nico.
Nico Harrison. Like him and his girl, like back in the day, I guess, or I don't know if she's his wife now or not. But I guess he was doing an ad and like finding love in Portland. I'll have to find it and send it to you.
Yeah, that dude shouldn't be making basketball decisions.
It's
I
like the
want
game.
Patrick
It's like the
Ewing
game
making
being on
basketball.
Change of Heart, right?
Yeah, yeah. I want Patrick Ewing making basketball decisions. I want a baller making basketball decisions. I don't want these guys who overanalyze because once again, Ian Rappaport brought it up again. I think I said Michael earlier, but Ian Rappaport brought up again that he was I was one of those guys that was singing the praises of the Michael Penix pick last year because you need a guy. I'm like, don't bring this up again.
Oh, I can't
It's
wait. I'm telling you, I cannot wait until Atlanta gets on the clock.
I mean, honestly, because they're not in the top 10, I'm not gonna flip out.
That's what you think.
Because I don't think
I
I
know
don't think they
you.
can make a bad pick. The only thing that would upset me is
Is
if Shedeur is there and they draft Shedeur to appease Dion. That would be that. I think
got the Raiders
any
on the
other
clock.
pick, you'll be fine. I mean, if they get a wide receiver, I would like for him to be over 6 foot. I would like a big target just because you have a young quarterback. I think they figure out the windows as the game starts to slow down for them. But in the early stages,
Whoa. We have Ashton Genty.
oh, I'm not surprised.
The Las Vegas Raiders did the right thing. They got an adult in charge now. In side note, the Pistons have cut the Knicks 13-point lead down to 4, in the middle of the third quarter. But yeah, Ashton Genty is off the board.
I like it
I like
because
it too.
I never understood why GMs and player personnel people and scouts and just draft experts just it's one thing I understand that you and they felt the money with the running backs. Hey, you can't pay them X amount of dollars, but it's like that doesn't mean you pass up on new talent because
Right.
of potential future contracts. Like you worry about the contracts later. Like I like Bijan Robinson. I think he was a dope running back. I just didn't think Atlanta needed him when they drafted him.
And now he was the third leading rusher in the league last
Yeah,
season.
and he does great. But we also are third from the bottom in defensive pass rate. Like the win rate from defensive tackles. Like
Algier is old reliable.
Algier, the big Mormon. Yeah, he
He a
got it.
consistent dude, man. If nothing else, he's consistent.
Yeah, he's gonna run downhill, 4.5 yards in the cloud of dust. Granted, we had Cordero Patterson. I knew it was probably getting a little long in the tooth, but I just felt that was in a situation where you didn't need another running back at 8. And if you did, I didn't. I saw some mock drafts that year that had him going somewhere around 20 because of like this, this de-evaluation of the running back. So it's like, yo, you could have gone from 8. But another thing, like we talked about Chicago, when Chicago called Atlanta last year, was like, yo, let's go from 9 to 8 and give them a 4th round pick so they can give Roma Dunze. They said no to that. So it's like that kind of stuff is like what really like triggers me because it's like, why aren't we making these kind of moves?
And don't forget the injured defensive tackle that you took when you could have got the guy that we got.
The guy that was All
Johnny
American.
Newton. You could have got Johnny Newton. Ashton Genty and his 2,600 yards on his way to the desert. And you know who's on the clock now, Mr. Logical?
Jets, Jets.
Our one and only New Jersey Jetropolitans.
I've gone to
They
a
gotta go.
couple
I
of
think they're going
Falcons
offensive
games,
line.
both of them against the Jets, since I've been stationed here, or since retired, since I moved to Jersey. And each time the Jet fans, man, they show up. The stadium is packed. The people are packed. They're chanting in the parking lot. They're chanting in the hallways. They don't like. It's not like the rumors that people have about Philly. Like Philly is such rude fans and always want to fight the opposing team. The Jet fans just love the Jets, and the stadium is a really nice stadium. And you can walk in from multiple angles. You can get there from the turnpike. So you get there, you're getting on the escalator to get to your section, and you're walking down. I normally get seats in like the 100s just because it's kind of easier to access. And they're just
See Tom
excited.
Brady in the room.
They're excited as hell. And then the game starts and they start losing it. They're cussing at the coach. They're cussing at the ref. They're cussing at each other. They are pissed. They don't fuck with the fans. I've sat there at a couple of these games and just kind of watched them just like getting thrown out, just cussing the refs out. The refs are like,
why when teams make draft picks,
they clap and hug?
Like, yeah, why everybody hugging in the room?
We knew it.
You
all knew it. You knew it before he made the phone call.
All I asked for, one of the things that I asked for is just when I'm 73 years old, give me the energy that Pete Carroll got.
Listen, you better start jogging and eating tofu or something.
So that man be tearing the fuck out that gum too.
So he's going to run the ball. I could see them picking up another running back, just kind of having that running back by committee. But I like Ashton Genty. It is kind of tough because Boise State does have probably the better offensive line, like the better control of the line of scrimmage that they had in their conference, because he was running through a lot of big holes. He was running through like Oklahoma, Adrian Peterson kind of holes in some of his games too. So that does it can skew it, but the balance, the contact, the run after contact, the way he hits the hole,
especially for a 5'8" dude at that.
Yeah. So the solid body frame, smart. It was smart for him to do his workouts with no shirt on. Like he was like, I think any opportunity he had after the season ended, where he was in front of cameras or scouts to do it without a shirt, just kind of show like, yeah, my stature says I'm 5'8", whatever, but look at me. I am built for collision. I am built for tackle football. And then the tweet that he put out saying, hey, this is tackle football. Draft the guy that's hard to tackle. I think it speaks to his physicality, his mentality about creating contact, driving through contact, and his unwillingness to like go down. Sometimes you want it, like, because that was a knock on Reggie Bush. It's like, will he run between the tackles? And then New Orleans like, probably not. So we go get a ball to Deuce McAllister to go between the tackles, and then Reggie, you go to wherever you can get space.
Right. And it's crazy every time I see this stat that the Jets haven't won the AFC East since 2002, and the Colts have more division titles than them. It drives me crazy every time I see it.
I think we talked about this a lot. Some teams, I would rather look at my team and say we need to clean house a year early versus trying to patch up these holes a year after that.
Yeah.
I think the Jets have long been one of those teams where it's like instead of bringing in Brett Favre for those years, they should have regrouped right then. Like, you know what? Scrap it.
Yeah.
Let's go get the best young players that we can get and launch from here. I think San Francisco, depending on the Purdy contract, might be in that boat.
Oh, see, Mr. Logical, you got to start listening to me. Amon Membu from Missouri to the Jets.
Like, listen, I would
Remember
never
my mock
disagree with
draft?
you. Yeah, I would never disagree. I just felt like they were gonna do something to help Justin Fields in the
All right.
passing game.
You ready?
Here we go.
Okay. So, should the Carolina Panthers, since they're on the clock right now,
What up, Penrod?
since they're on the clock right now, should the Carolina Panthers try to get, so this is a two-part question. Should they try
Correct.
to get into the TJ Watt sweepstakes? Should the Steelers listen? And then number two, are the Steelers potentially doing a rebuild that we don't know about? Because, they're waiting for Aaron Rodgers allegedly, but, George Pickens stopped following them on Instagram last night or whatever he did. We got the TJ Watt contract stuff going on. Is it possible that there's a soft reset going on in Pittsburgh and we just don't know it yet?
You and I were talking about TJ Watt, and this is and for the listeners, our proposal. Granted, I don't know how these deals work, but I figured this is probably a good one. TJ Watt, number 21 pick, and we like a second next year, maybe a third next year. So we'll go second. We'll sweeten the pot. TJ, number 21 overall, second next year to move from 21 to 8. Carolina gets TJ Watt. They get Pittsburgh's second round pick next year, and then they get the draft 21 this year. And that puts the Steelers ahead of the Saints. Steelers get Shedeur. But when I saw the post that Pickens unfollowed them, I was thinking, now I give you Pickens and 21, and we move up to 8 because I got DK. So I have DK in the building. So if I jump to 8 to get Shedeur, it's not like getting rid of having Pickens and DK would probably help Shedeur. Like I can only imagine having 2 6-for-4 guys that can stretch the field will help him. But if you only have one, and you still got Freiermuth in the middle, and you still have the Steeler defense that's going to get you some short fields, some turnovers, you get some added
How
opportunities.
does Mike Tomlin always end up with these crazy ass receivers?
Because I think they believe that he's such a good coach, he can wrangle them in.
He's the whisperer.
He's the whisperer. It's like you're a black coach, you're from a tough city. You've proven year in and year out that you can handle these eccentric, diva, almost borderline disruptive personalities on the field between Chase Claypool, AB, Le'Veon
Nate
Bell,
Washington.
Nate Washington, what's the boy name?
Martavius
Bryant, so and now you got Pickens. So it's like I think they just figured we're gonna lean on your natural leadership skills and abilities. But if I'm Carolina, you're young enough offensively, because we talk about Bryce Young and the money, that I think you could do that deal with either Pickens being part of it, or Watt, and give them, a good chunk of money, whatever they're kind of demanding.
Of a team like for Watt, in addition, since you added on the Pickens thing, I was thinking a team like San Francisco, who John Lynch, I don't know, like if he feels the walls closing in.
You got TJ Watt going to San Francisco.
Like
he wants some money. That's the problem. And I think Bryce Young isn't demanding money, so Carolina can make that deal,
right?
And say they give him 3 years,
Do you think the Steelers
75
would
million.
send him there on some like, we're going to take care of our guy and not send you to the pit of the NFL?
I don't think Carolina's in a winnable division.
Uh-huh.
So Carolina is a couple of games flipped one way, and then maybe a game where Bryce Young is really on one. From being, like they had the game against Philly where Leggett dropped the ball on that catch. They
Almost beat
played Kansas
Kansas
City
City.
very tough. I'm not
Yeah.
saying they're gonna be like this worst to first, but worst to first
It's an
happens a
NFL
lot more
staple.
than NFL. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get a couple of playmakers that can just be disruptive because we talk about it. The spread is normally a touchdown. 6.5 is a huge spread in the NFL. So if TJ Watt comes off the edge and Baker Mayfield's not paying attention, it's a strip sack. Now you got the ball at the 12-yard line, down three
Yeah, they
minutes
beat
left.
Tampa last year and took them to overtime the other game.
Yeah, so like little things like that, I think could help them. But I'm not sure Pittsburgh because they're in a division where you could be 1 and you could be 4, but even at 1 and 4, you're still a good team.
Right.
It's very tough for them to rebuild because they don't have the luxury of their division kind of continuously rebuilding around them. The AFC South, they're in a constant rebuild. 2 or 3 teams, two
Yeah, I mean,
teams
if
every
Cam
single
Ward is
year are
what
looking for new leadership, new
if Cam Ward is
playmakers,
worthy of
new
the number one pick,
philosophies.
if Cam Ward is worthy of the number one pick, Tennessee can win that division.
They can win that division. If Carolina makes the right moves in this, they can. Because really, it's the race to 10 wins in the NFC South. If you can get to 10 wins,
Hey, you know what? 9 might work.
9 might work. But if you can get to 10, you're sitting at like, 8 and 5. You need 2 more wins. And you can have it like Atlanta had I think Atlanta was probably like 8-4 or 6-2 or something like that. Then they went on the losing streak. If they could have got it to 8 wins, if they just got squeezed out a couple of wins, that the cushion they had in that division was so massive that you just need to win a week 12 game and then a week 16 game. You're 10-7. You're winning that division.
Carolina Panthers. Come on down, Tetaroa McMillan. What I say? What did I say the other day? Go and get you Mike Evans. You instead of playing against Mike Evans,
Yeah,
go get Mike Evans.
I agree with that.
So there you go, Tet McMillan.
So
Off the
now this
board.
is where the draft starts.
You know what I'm
This is
saying?
what
Yeah.
because everybody else kind of went where you expect them. I think the Jacksonville trade up was like, okay, you want this playmaker. Abdul Carter falling to the Giants was easy. Will Campbell, the most New England pick you can make. Mason Graham, I know they talked about him a lot at Michigan, and you talked about his national championship run.
But see, for me, it's hard. Like
I can't. I don't know how to rate a defensive tackle.
Well, it's hard to for me. It's hard to look at dudes from Michigan that play linebacker and line because they're
It's
all
kind of very
good.
similar. They're all good, but it's very similar to like Alabama, where
But see, but all
3
those
guys are
Alabama
just
guys, but all those
they're
Alabama
always
guys are
eating up
5 stars.
blocks. They're all, but like that's what I'm saying is that it's kind of the defense. I think the way you evaluate Bama players is like aptitude and how they apply like the very intricate systems that Nick Saban was teaching them back then. But defensive tackles, if a defensive tackle is willing to eat up the guard and the center on every play, like I'm eating up 2 blocks, this guy's going to eat up 2 blocks. Now linebackers are roaming free, crashing the line of scrimmage, or they're clean. They're not fighting off a guard, they're not fighting off a tackle, they're not fighting off a tight end because so many guys are up front are getting double teams. Now it's your ability to make one-on-one tackles in space or read the play, get in the backfield, tackles for loss. So when you have guys that play Michigan where they just kind of bolster that line and they just, especially with Harbaugh and that philosophy of like, we are going to win the line of scrimmage. Sometimes it's hard to see, like, are you that good?
Right.
Or are you in a system that's allowing you to only have to go one-on-one a lot.
NFL Network's comparison for Ted McMillan is not Mike
Mike,
Evans.
not Mike
It's not
Evans.
Mike Evans. It's Drake
Chase
London.
The problem.
I saw
So that means he's a
somebody on
big slot
CBS.
guy.
I
Because
saw
Drake London
somebody.
does a lot of work out of the slot.
He
He's not an
does.
outside
I
guy.
saw someone on CBS compare him to T. Higgins. I don't like that one at all.
Is it just what did he run in his 40?
What? But this is.
I thought it was like it was a number that people didn't like.
He ran a 4.48 actually.
I don't know what people want.
You know what I'm saying? Well, I know Steve Smith talked about how he kind of loafs a little and, doesn't get a lot of separation that you would like to see, but I imagine at a 4.48 at his size, you might get separation, but your quarterback can't get you the ball.
True.
So you have,
like I said, sometimes it might just be a matter of like, I'm just going to play for the jump ball.
It could be that as well, but that's also coach driven more than like if the player comes out and runs a jump ball route, coach say, that's not what I call. Don't do that shit no more. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If you're continuing to do it, then the coach is on board with that.
I understand that there's linebackers in the middle, but I need you to run this dig route from the slot so we can get Xavier Legette open over the top. We need the free safety to come down and have to engage with you. So maybe you're open, maybe you're not. You might get hit, you may maybe not. But we need you to run that route so we can run Legette on the post behind you.
Yeah,
so
I am here for this 9 through 15 coming up. So we got New Orleans at 9, followed by Chicago, San Francisco, Dallas, Miami, and Indianapolis. And then, of course, number 15, the black and red, Texas Tech Red Raiders.
They probably going to get somebody from Texas. I talked about this. I know the guy in my office from Georgia. He's like, Athens is about like an hour and a half if you're driving. I'm like, why is – I'm like, the Falcons don't send scouts. Just go watch a game between the hedges just to see. Maybe some of these guys don't want to leave the state.
What is it, less than 2 hours maybe?
Less than 2 hours. With traffic, might be 6. But that's just you got to deal with life and we live in the popular city.
That's all right.
But
that's
it's only a couple
the day before.
I'm like, listen, the Philadelphia Eagles, they keep a damn Airbnb and a timeshare in Athens for their scouts because these dudes are down there all the time watching and scouting like, yo, we'll take him. And when he's draft eligible next year, we're going to come back and get him. So it's like, Atlanta's like, okay, we're cool. We're going to get this guy from Montana State.
You love Montana State for some reason.
Troy Anderson's a good pick, but it's like I would have taken a guy from Arkansas or somebody that I would have taken a guy from around that area that was really productive.
Even though I love the Montana Grizzlies, you just gonna keep on bringing up. Oh, the Saints go offensive line. Kelvin Banks from Texas. Ooh, the draft is on, baby. So, you brought it up earlier, right? Shedeur, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, because I'm not seeing.
Because if you're Pittsburgh, you might not need to trade up.
The Cardinals.
Because if you look in front of you, so I got the order right here. So you got Denver at 20. They just got Bo Nix last year.
Chicago's picks already in.
I know. Tampa, you got Baker Mayfield. Seattle just paid Sam Darnold. Cincinnati's got Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray, Michael Penix, Anthony Richardson / Daniel Jones, Tua, Dak, Brock Purdy, and you just drafted Caleb Williams last year. So the slide is about to begin probably. So if Pittsburgh, for whatever reason, if Pittsburgh does not take Shedeur, then he may not go in the first round. Because, you got to, unless the Browns trade back in.
The Browns trade back in.
Yeah, because we were talking about the Rams the other night.
Or maybe the Saints trade back in.
Maybe. But I know we were talking about the Rams the other night. And if you're the Rams, You don't need that type of personality on your bench.
Yeah, you like I said, you don't need the questions from the media every week, considering that you was basically Stafford probably could have retired this past offseason and be like, you know what, I had a great career. Drafted in
Got me a ring.
2009, got a ring. We going into 2025. I got drafted, what was that, 16 years ago? So it was like, yeah, I had a nice little run. I had some injuries, I had some highlights, couple of Hall of Famers. He could have but I mean, granted, depends on how your body feels and everything else. But he got this 2-year extension. The last thing you want to do is draft a guy with the cachet of Shedeur Sanders, even though he's a rookie, but that shadow looms.
Yeah, I want to see where the Bears go. I'm thinking Michael Williams, maybe. I don't know if you want to go lineman here. They probably need a lineman, but I don't know if there's any lineman graded this high right now. So maybe you're looking at Jalen Walker, who's still there. A lot of people thought that Carolina would take him from Georgia, but you could get Michael Williams instead. Maybe you reach for a Shamar Stewart. I know he got a lot of hype because of the freak athlete that he is, but I think he's still a little raw to contribute right now. I think he might be slightly overrated for where people, because I think people are just looking at the measurables and not actually the player. So we'll see. The Bears should be making their pick shortly, and of course we'll have it here for you along with the rest of the first round here. So let's see. Let me refresh because I got the draft on the TV, but it's hitting the phone faster. So,
Mhm.
I got mad because T Rob kept spoiling all the picks for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, man. I don't know what the Bears like. They could go anywhere with it.
Well,
Colleen
I
Wolf
think
and
that's
Laura Rutledge take the
probably a
stage.
luxury.
Let's
I
see
don't
what
know
we
if I
got
want to
here.
get the fourth offensive lineman in the top 10.
Right.
I'd probably go best defensive impact player here. Because you got everything. I think you have everything you need in the offense. You just have to get your quarterback to believe in himself. And you do that with keeping the score close, not giving up touchdowns after a bad drive. Like real confidence. I think you go defense here, try to turn the ball over, or just at least start building on the legacy of Chicago football, which is defense. Like we said, I don't think they've ever had a guy pass for 4,000 yards.
Yeah.
So why start trying to do that now?
Yeah. So it sounds like to follow up what we were talking about, it sounds like the knock on Tet is his speed doesn't pick up until he's already in the middle of the route. So he doesn't have that burst off the line. But you would argue, he's 6'4", like how many 6'4" dudes got that in that way anyway?
Jerry
But
Rice ran a 4.6. So did T.O. So
you know, so the Knicks are up
like
by 9 right now. Mr. Logical, here's a question for you.
I'm
Who do you
listening.
think is the Pistons leading scorer right now?
Thompson.
No.
Then Cade Cunningham.
Tim Hardaway Jr.
Oh, because he was doing terrible last year with Dallas.
Yeah. 21 points. Kate Cunningham with 17, 6 and 7. Kitty Cat showed up tonight so far with 25. Jalen Brunson, 18 with 6 and 7. Still waiting on the Bears here. The Knicks started out with a big lead, and then Detroit went on a 20-6 run. Now the Knicks have broken it back out to a 9-point lead. In the fourth quarter. Oh, I'm sorry, at the end of the third quarter. So 18 seconds left in the third quarter. All right, here's the Bears selection. And actually, my TV actually beat the phone this time.
I'm looking
You
at it right now. I thought I read his lips, but
Yeah, as Poppy from the Dan Lebitard show would say, or the highly questionable Fidel Goodell. All right, there's my phone. Colston Loveland. My pick for best tight end in the draft out of Michigan. So Michigan with 2 in the top 10. How about that? That's not an SEC school, y'all. Saying the Big
I
Ten
mean,
closing the gap.
Big Ten closing the gap,
Yeah,
but you
Colston
got
Loveland, I like it. Because like you always talk about, you got a young quarterback, get him a safety valve.
now he has to use it.
Yeah, now he has to use it. Cole Kmet's a good tight end. But I think Colston Loveland's better. He's one of those guys that you remember Jimmy Graham was trying to do the whole like I'm a wide receiver thing. Like Colston Loveland could have that
Yeah,
type
he
of
was trying
argument.
to get paid as both. Yeah,
Yeah. Colston Loveland could have that type of argument. He's got hands on top of hands. He's got hands on top of hands. So, I like this pick. If everything goes right and he actually, does what he's supposed to do, you could be looking at Greg Olson.
6'5", 248. He doesn't look 248.
That's because he fit. You know what I'm saying? But who's on the clock right now? Residente's 49ers. You know what I'm saying? Santa
Did he block?
Clara. So San Francisco, what do? They're not normally a team that drafts skill position in the first round. So, you don't see them go
Not
receiver a
since they
lot.
took Trey Lance that they gave up, 3 years of their draft.
Well, I know
I
they,
still
they,
don't
they grabbed
understand
Ricky
that.
Pearsall last year, but that was the end of the round, you know. But usually when they're a little high like this, they usually do something trench wise. So I like Walter Nolan here from Texas A&M / Ole Miss. I keep bringing it up, but he was the prize recruit of the Jimbo
Jimbo
class.
Fish, yeah,
Yeah,
the
that
one
got him
that
in
pissed
trouble with Nick Saban.
Nick Saban.
Yeah, and the other prize of that class, Emmanuel Stewart, nowhere to be found. He'll probably be drafted in the 3rd or 4th round. He transferred from A&M to Oregon. I just think he never really met his potential. But, who knows? What I'm saying? Maybe some people
Some
just play better in the NFL than they do in college.
some you just gotta love it. Sometimes people don't always love it.
But I am here for the 49ers. Let's see what they do.
Idaho.
And then, as I look at the draft, there's a couple of guys that I've wondered why I keep hearing the things that I'm hearing. Like I've been hearing Nick Imanwari is going to drop and probably be near the end of the first round. Makes me question why. I wonder how far Will Johnson is going to slide. We talked about him the other night. I think
'Cause
that
I think teams are trying to win in the trenches. I mean, if you look at the top picks, you have quarterback, obviously is a need, wide receiver, cornerback, dynamic, edge, old tackle, defensive tackle, running back. I want to win the line. I want to control the line of scrimmage. Offensive tackle.
that's a lot of deer on that wall.
Yeah, I saw it. You know, Carolina going wide receiver. I think that was smart to just get a big target.
Yep.
New Orleans has so many holes. They're like, well, let's see if we can, bolster this offensive line, win the line of scrimmage, win that battle. Derek Carr, I don't know if he's healthy, if he's coming back,
But they said he might not even play this year.
or you're running it back with Spencer Rattler, or they're making a move from what,
I don't know. Maybe you go
9
bring
in the second round is about 41, 42, back to 31.
Maybe you go bring in Ryan Tannehill or something for a year.
Is Ryan Tannehill still available?
Yes, nobody
He
signed
didn't
him last
retire.
year.
He didn't.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Maybe you bring
Don't
him
bet.
off the street.
You bet off just bringing in a rookie and see what you can do. Once again, like I say, you have the luxury of being in a division where you can gamble a little bit.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like I don't know. There's a lot of places, you can go here. So I also want to know why, and I don't want to get. I know we had this conversation the other day about Brock Purdy. I'm still trying to figure out why he isn't signed yet. But as we look at this, talk about Shedeur real quick. We heard Lewis Reddick talking about how Shedeur will challenge your intellect. And when I heard that, the wording of it just made me laugh because you could say a lot of things in a way that isn't douchey. Like, you could say, "Hey, let me pick your brain," or "What do you think about this?" versus like, "What do you know?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. Like if Shador drops out of the first round, then he just he just burned the wrong people or something.
Like I said, some of the reports that it was like the worst meeting. Uh, Sometimes, like I talked about, like dads living vicariously through their sons' athletic prowess. I
Yeah,
think he might be trying to live through his dad's swag a little bit.
yeah.
You should have approached every meeting like
But what's the,
professionally as possible.
what's all this
Like
bullshit though? Like, oh, I don't know how I feel about him. None of his teammates went to his birthday party. Then I saw some
yeah,
dumbasses on X earlier, and I do mean dumbasses disrespectfully,
yes,
like talking about how, oh, look at him with his hat on backwards. And then, somebody showed
Matthew
Jaxson
Stafford.
Dart. They showed Jaxson Dart, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't hear him getting criticized. And they said because Shador has his, like this, what I'm saying? So he's trying to be a gangster, whereas Jaxson Dart has it straight. So he's just trying to be cool.
Just say you like him because he's white. Yeah, you don't like the other one because he's black. Just
Yeah, just
save me the semantics.
yeah,
Like,
just
listen, I don't like this
I don't
Negro's
want Shador at
attitude.
this
It's too
fountain.
flashy. I don't want him challenging our power
And
structure.
speaking of
I
Shador,
think
there he is.
Jackson. I think Jackson Dart will come in and be a good locker room guy, a real gym rat. You know the language they use when they describe white athletes versus black ones, and black coaches. He's a real class act. That's Tony Dungy all the way.
Yeah.
So
Could
real
Indianapolis?
firecrackers, a Latin guy. Stuff like that.
I'm really intrigued on what the Colts do.
Got this dude from Yakota.
So you got Dallas next. So like Dallas could go a lot of ways too. They lost Brandon Cooks. Back to New Orleans. So they still need another receiver beside CD Lamb. I like Matthew Golden there. We'll see if that's a little too high for his blood, but I think he will be the next receiver taken. It's just a matter of who's going to take him. I was wondering if Arizona might go receiver because, to your point, the things that you've been talking about, it's kind of like, hey, is this a trial year, like your last stand, if you will, for Kyler Murray?
Yeah.
Like you got to make, something happen, make snow out of shit this year.
I could I know we there's always like certain players we talk about a lot. But as I'm watching this kind of play out, I can see Shedeur getting drafted by Arizona
Hey, if
and
that
then
happens, that will
working away off that
definitely
deal.
that will definitely be talked about all week long.
I doubt that it happens because I mean, granted, they did it before to like Mike said the other day on the show, they did it to come off of
Josh Rosen.
Josh Rosen and Steve
Hey, but
Wilks.
you know what they say, right? You lose them the same way you got them, right?
Hey, if they did it to him, they'll do it to you.
Yep. Oh, Michael Williams, edge from
Yeah.
Georgia.
I'm sick of these dudes with these little choker necklaces.
You know what I'm saying? I'm
It
sick of
just
all these. I'm
get
sick of
these big ass charms on these little necklaces. Like, just get a big necklace. That's a big part. That's too many people.
yeah.
Somebody needs to tell him after this draft. Well, listen, man. That's the last time you had that many people in your house. Hope grandma cooked good food and everybody get a nice plate. They get to take it with them. But that's the last time you host a function like that. Just start just distancing yourself from people now, so people don't come around thinking that 11th overall pick means you got enough millions for everybody.
yeah.
It's unfortunate, but it's the way it goes.
Yeah. So the Knicks are up by 6 with 9.5 to go. So here we go, coming down the stretch. This is where Detroit's got in trouble though, trying to close the game out and being I guess the lower seed, the worst team, if you will. Like you got to take advantage of moments when you're hanging around.
Yeah, when you hang around, you got to hit the dagger three.
And you're at
It'd be
home.
funny if you would have put the
I
wrong
could just
hat on.
imagine. I could just imagine the environment there. Why is it that the Pistons are only good when they're willing to fight?
Sometimes you need that. Like you need to get slapped in the face.
Yeah, Mitchell
like a
Robinson
boxer that
and Paul Reed.
needs to taste a little blood in his mouth before he really turns it on.
Yeah, Mitchell Robinson and Paul Reed got into it tonight. Isaiah Stewart, he's injured. He was sitting on the sideline looking so heartbroken he couldn't participate.
If he didn't spend his whole year fighting, he probably have been more pliable. He wouldn't get hurt.
Oh, the Cowboys pick is in.
Pick is in.
Let's see what.
Yeah, the phone is definitely quicker than the TV. Does.
Let's see what Russia's team. Let's see what they do because they ain't my team.
It's gonna be something boring.
But like I was saying though, so
probably
yeah,
Golden. I'm gonna say they're gonna take Golden. I'm guessing because nothing's updated. I'm gonna say they're gonna take like a wide receiver.
Well, that's who
they saw Zach Martin though, so.
Well, I had Golden going to them in my mock draft, but but yeah, I agree with that. Because like I said, Cooks is gone. You brought in Javonte Williams at running back, and I don't think you want to draft a running back. Just going off of the temperature of the NFL, you don't want to draft a running back right now per se. So we'll see.
I got the pick.
All right, what you got?
Well, I
got the pick too. I got the pick too. It is Tyler Booker.
Yeah, like I said, they just lost Zach Martin. So
offensive lineman from Alabama.
He's really feeling this. Listen, that's how you're supposed to be at the draft.
How are you supposed to be, Mr. Logical?
Just you're supposed to act like your dream just came through. Put your hat on. He ran down the hallway, slapping the Dallas Star. Still got that little ass chain on, but I'll let it slide. That's what the kids are doing today. He came on. Roger Goodell about to get it. Oh,
I know. He about to pick Roger Goodell up. That's what he about to do.
That's what. Yeah, the Christian Wilkins picked him up.
So you know who's on the clock now? The Miami Dolphins. You know what I'm saying?
Dylan Gabriel.
I haven't heard much from Chris since the draft started. So Miami's got the trick of all trades here too. You could go, defensive edge, guys like Shamar Stewart still available. You could go corner with a guy like Jade Barron. I don't know why I keep calling him Brown.
Yeah.
You could go, linebacker. Like Miami needs a little bit of everything, not on the offense.
I like it.
Maybe unless it's Tyler Warren.
I think Miami probably should have pulled the trigger on the Ramsey and Tyreek Hill deals and see what they could have squeezed out of some team that thinks they're one player away.
Hey,
I think they probably could have. I think they could have squeezed out. I think you could have moved Jalen Ramsey for a first and a second, maybe.
Well, I imagine he has a hot market. Like I imagine teams like Washington or. The Rams I've heard are interested in getting them back.
Somebody with a young quarterback that has some success. Like I said, you said Washington. It's a lot of people. Is it on the field?
Yeah, they're inside Lambeau, I believe, or Lambeau Park Atrium, I think it's called.
Okay, that's a lot of people.
Yeah, and
I said, I went to the draft in Philly on the third day. It was a perfect day to go. I drove up pretty close, walked up. Was on TV for a little bit, but yeah, the first night would have been dope too.
Yeah, I'm interested in this. Miami is one of the teams that I was looking, the most for. So
they're on the clock, and the clock's ticking.
Yeah,
we got Indy and Atlanta. Like I said, I think Atlanta's gonna go smart. Probably get a player out of Georgia.
Could Walter Nolan go here? Oh, there's Chris. I was just telling everybody how We hadn't heard from you much since the draft started. Welcome, sir. Hello, Alo Hilani. How you doing? You know what I'm
Good
saying?
evening.
You know what I'm saying? Thank you for your time and your support. Yeah. So, Miami can go lots of different ways. Who you want, Chris? You don't want Walter Nolan? You need something, even though I do like the Chop Robinson pickup last year, another Penn State guy, even you know what? It's so amazing. I fucking hate Penn State with like damn near all my fibers that I can muster up to
But
hate
the players
something.
are good.
But I
The
love their
players are good.
players.
They're a blue collar team. They are a football team.
Maybe I need to become more white
they're,
collar.
they're in the middle. They're in the middle of Pennsylvania. There's not much out there except that. There's Harrisburg. There's Pittsburgh is another 2-3 hours away from there. They just go out there in the mountains and just play football. They get they get a lot of talent from Western Pennsylvania throughout the state of Pennsylvania. It's a good bolstering football program. Pittsburgh has great high school football, but it's not a lot of flashy stuff. It's cold.
Okay. That's enough.
Yeah, it's cold.
No
it's
more.
cold out here. You gotta run hard and play tough when you play football in this region.
Speaking of Jade Barron, did I share with you, because I love him, did I share with you who I think his comp is?
No.
I think he's got a little Trent McDuffie in him.
Elaborate.
Like just
physical,
tough,
hands-on.
versatile. He can blitz. You can line him up sometimes, like in the middle, like have him play a little.
His blitz is the one that had Josh Allen confused on 4th down.
Yeah, and
McDuffie off the edge. Yeah,
and don't forget what he did to Brock Purdy in the Super Bowl.
They were terrorizing Brock Purdy.
Yeah,
like it was so many blitzes he hadn't seen before.
Oh, Chris is a trade down. You know what I'm saying? But like I don't know, man. Like
the pick is in.
I could see that. I could see the Jade Barron thing. I could see Walter Nolan. Let's see what we got here. Let's see if my phone has beat the TV again.
Now I'm looking at a Dix.com commercial now, Grubhub commercial.
Okay, just saying all them kind of words on the pod. We call it Richards around here.
Richards.
That's what I say when I'm in the car with my daughter. Like, yeah, I got to stop by Richards real quick.
It's hilarious that they don't change the name.
I've never been to that restaurant either, like where they treat you like shit and you wear the little hats and all that stuff. Like,
I ain't got time for all that.
I don't think I can handle that. I truly don't think I can handle that. Like,
just bring me my mushroom Swiss burger and my old fashioned.
I'll go CTE on somebody up in there. But yeah, Miami.
I don't need to be a part of your entertainment for me to eat.
So Chris, what do you think about Tyler Warren? If it's offense, I think it's a tight end. I think that's a great place, especially with all the speed. I always talk about.
You don't think Gesicki's the guy?
Well, I always talk about the Dolphins and how they keep trying to build this track team. So why not get a tight end that can line up at running back and line up at quarterback sometime?
Yeah, you're not running any quarterback sneaks.
Yeah, plus you need a better backup for Tua anyway. Skylar Johnson's gone.
You're just gonna get Dylan Gabriel in the
Huntley.
4th round.
I don't know.
You can get a 5'11" left-handed guy.
Can't take it.
6 foot tall left-handed guy.
They're gonna have to let me give them a hat and write something back. That's what I'm gonna have to do. But yeah, I don't know, man. Miami, we got Indianapolis next. Miami needs tough, not a gimmick. Then why y'all keep drafting who y'all been drafting?
They're making a TV. Remember that Eli Manning thing?
He drafted a little person last year, Malik Washington.
When Eli Manning went to Penn State and he was dressed up like some dude named Chad Powers with like the prosthetic nose and stuff like that. Who's making a TV show with that dude Glenn Powell from Top Gun?
Yeah.
Silly. It's just I'm sick of America.
But like I said,
lack of creativity is a reflection of our
you'll love this logical. You'll love this comment. Check this out. I was talking about dicks and how I can't handle it. Oh no, wrong one. My bad. Wrong one. I love it. I love it. You know,
Absolutely.
but we got Indianapolis next. Atlanta after that, so we can get Mr. Logical's breakdown of epic proportions.
Nah, it's gonna be simple, man. Like this draft, short of the trade up from
Oh,
five
Kenneth Grant, huh?
from
Another
5 to 2
Michigan
to get.
dude. Look at that. We got 3 Michigan players in the top 13 of the NFL draft.
Why you guys shaking hands? Like I
Like,
don't like. I'm just stop doing that.
just think
It's
about this.
pointless.
Like, what, 18 months ago, Michigan was one of the laughing stocks of college football because they got this shit pushed in by Ohio State every year. And here we are. Like, Michigan taking over the draft.
Yeah, let's keep it a bean though. They didn't win that many games last year. They're a
Hey,
good team. They have good
hey,
talent. They got
rebuild is
recruited.
real. And the Pistons have cut it down to 3. Knicks with a timeout, 104, 101 with 4:41 left in the game. Cat up to 27, or Kitty up to 27. Jalen Brunson with 20.7 boards and 9 assists.
I'm looking at this guy Grant's highlights.
How come his dad wasn't any good in the NBA?
Who?
Jalen Brunson.
Because didn't he play against Jordan?
Is
I
that
don't
what
think
it
he could be
was?
good. Yeah, I think Jordan just had the whole league enamored.
I'm having a Shannon Sharp moment right now. Like my draft tracker just showed up on my TV and I don't know how. Did you
Well,
see
can't
that?
figure
Did
out
you see
figure
that?
out technology.
I guess the PR team sent him the statement that he's supposed to put out about the situation and how he's taking a break from ESPN, but he screenshotted it instead of actually pasting it and posting it. Who on your team, Unc?
Just at that point, I would just say, hey, I respect my privacy in this private matter.
Yeah, he said he's coming back for preseason.
Who was that?
Shannon Sharp.
Coming like he's taking that long of a break off?
Yeah, off of ESPN.
Well, you need to when you're being sued.
You know what I'm saying? When you out here with grandkids that ain't your own. Oh, the Colts. Hey, I called this one. The Colts, Tyler Warren. They needed
I
that
like
tight
it.
end.
Good pick. They
You
got a
know,
they got a quarterback that's right now hovering around 50% completion for his career.
I don't remember the last time the Colts, really featured a good tight end in that way. Like, I don't want to say it was Dallas Clark. They've had somebody since then, but
They had Moelle Cox.
I like him, but he wasn't that. But yeah, I mean, he was awesome on Madden back when I used to do that.
This kind of party you need to have. Look, grandma, grandpa, your aunt, uncle, your best friend, your little brother, your trainer. That's it. Nobody from the neighborhood.
But Mr. Logical,
Keep it simple.
it's time.
You wasn't with me shooting in the gym?
It's time.
Just go defensive line and I'll be happy. The
I'm
best
thinking
defensive lineman available,
I'm
or if they
thinking maybe
think
Mike Green. Maybe Mike Green. Might be a little high for Derek Harmon. We know that Atlanta is not going to do anything bold, like take James Pierce or something.
no, they're not. They're not going to do that. So
Knowing y'all will take a safety. Like, hey, I was still mad. Like, I don't know how you felt about it in real time because I don't think we were talking football. We might not have known
yeah,
each other yet. But I was wondering about how did you feel when Keanu Neal got drafted?
I liked it.
Because I was kind of confused by it, not because they didn't need it, but I was just like, him?
I liked it because I had him kind of. I looked at what's the boy name? The coach. I'm drawing him like Dan Quinn. I figured Dan Quinn was building a younger version of Legion of Boom.
Yeah.
And his physical comparisons compared
Cam
to Cam Chancellor.
Yeah.
So even no matter where they draft him, I was like, okay, you're trying to get guys who fit the body type of this other dominant defense you had, and then you could just put on tape of what these guys did and teach your new guys that. Which he did. He did a good job of that because after like halfway through the season, because Matt Ryan's MVP year, I think it was like a lot of those guys were rookies. He's like, listen, you guys are young and fast. Just play fast, and we'll worry about the scheme later. Just run to the ball. Everybody get to the ball, scrape at the ball, and having those kind of athletes worked.
Right.
Instead of just getting like, I want the best, linebacker. Like, no, I need to get these types of players fit this mold to fit this scheme, so I can just basically transplant my information from Northwest Washington down to Georgia.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Atlanta's going to go something simple. If not, if they don't think one of these guys are like highly rated and they want to trade back, maybe somebody wants to jump. But there's no one. I don't think there's anyone really left that
I'm
teams
thinking
going to
Mike
want to
Green
jump
here.
for.
I agree with Chris. I'd like to see him get a little stronger, maybe, but he's definitely got the wheels. But he's one of those small college guys, coming from Marshall. So you always
What
kind of
position is that?
edge.
I don't want edge. I want interior lineman.
DT?
I want interior lineman because it's
Well,
your edge is null and void if there's no push in the middle. He's just out there dancing,
I don't
doing
think that
swim
there's
moves.
anything. I don't know if there's any DTs worthy of this pick. Like, you could draft one off of need, but I don't know if there's any that rank high enough. Maybe
Then
Walter
get the
Nolan
best player that fits one of your needs. So get the best
or
corner, get the best O lineman, or get the best defensive lineman.
well, I was
But it
going to
has
say
to be
maybe.
interior.
Well, I was going to say maybe you could even look at Jalen Walker here. You're talking about why we don't never draft these dudes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so if you're gonna go linebacker, just get one. Just if you don't know what you're gonna do, just get the guy from Georgia.
Yeah.
The next best available guy from Georgia, just draft him. If you don't know anything else, just get that guy. And I know that's always crazy, but they don't do a good job of drafting defensive tackles. So it's like they needed kind of, like when you used to do a quiz and you slid it to the teacher and it was 5 questions and they would like kind of tap their finger on number 3, like, hey, you might want to relook at that answer. Atlanta needs that when they're putting in their tickets. Like, hey, the All-American guy is still available, right? You don't have to get the guy that's coming off an injury. He may be good, great character, great motor, great in the classroom. But the dude that was the All-American is sitting there too. Same position, just throwing it out there.
I so hope y'all take a tight end or something, like just to get this. Oh, I hope y'all do, just to get this blazed up real quick.
They can't do it to me 3 years in a row. I can't be recorded in 4K 3 years in a row, touching out my team. Like, it can't happen. I can't let it happen. I'm trying to avoid even looking at the screen.
Y'all set on auto draft, bro.
I don't think anybody in the war room.
You know what I mean? Like, so what's up with Kyle Pitts, man?
They probably on the phone with Philly like idiots. Like, oh, we got this 215 number that just called us. See what they want. No, don't answer that phone call.
What's the word with Kyle Pitts, man?
Kyle Pitts is going to get about 4 weeks of heavy targets from Michael Penix, and then it's going to be like, hey, New England, do you want to give us a 3rd-round pick for a tight end?
You know what's crazy? I could see Kyle Pitts winding up somewhere like Kansas City and just fucking being everything that he was predicted to be.
Because personally, I think this. They not on the phone. They better not be on the phone with Philly.
Hey, they Absolutely. Buffalo better be on the phone.
If they don't, they better
I know
not
Buffalo
take
better not. The one thing Buffalo better not do, though, they better not give Kansas City another weapon to whoop their ass with. Like they were a part of the Mahomes deal. They were a part of Xavier Worthy last year. Like, come on, Buffalo.
Atlanta about to miss their pick.
Hey, yo, Atlanta's about to forfeit.
They're about to forfeit their pick Minnesota style.
Atlanta about to act like a John Calipari team with a national
I don't
title.
even want to. I don't even want to look. Like I'm just. I get it. One player doesn't change anything. I personally just as a fan observing the team, there is rarely a situation where we run the ball up the middle and the running back is untouched until they get to linebacker level. And it's rarely a situation where we are defensively pushing up the middle, just pushing the pile back into the lap of the quarterback.
Hey, real
So if we
quick.
can do if whatever pick we get can do that, then I'll be happy. Don't get a 280-pound defensive tackle who has to go up against 335-pound guards. Like, get the strongest, best available player on either side of the ball that you can get right now.
All right,
That's it.
hey, my guy, my guy Ty from Memphis got a question for you. He sent me the text on the phone. He
All
said
right.
he said we got to call our shot. How much does OKC beat Memphis by tonight? I'm a good.
In OKC,
No,
32.
it's back in Memphis now. It's back in Memphis now. I'm gonna
How they
go.
back in? They're back in Memphis.
I'm gonna go 16. I'm gonna go 16.
16 conservative. I'll go 19.
All right, 19. Okay.
19.
All right, I'm gonna text them back. Let them know.
All
You
right.
know,
Yeah,
in fact, I
19
didn't see
is
the spread. Actually, let me look at the spread real quick because I know the spread the other night was 14 and a half.
that is ridiculous.
Let's see what's
This
the
is the
spread tonight.
NBA playoffs.
Oh,
And
spread
you got
tonight is only 9.5.
yeah, so about 19. They're gonna play a little energy, and then Shea is gonna get 16 free throws and it's gonna take the air out of the building.
Oh, Jalen Walker,
Oh, look at us.
Dirty
We only got a
Bird,
guy from Georgia. We
Dirty
got a
Bird.
guy from Georgia. Look at that. Look at that. That is a simple, smart move. I do not mind it.
Hey,
I
Mr.
don't mind it
Logical,
at all. I
guess
don't
who's on the
mind it
clock
at all. What
now?
we got?
The other birds are on the clock right now.
Oh, now I'm a little pissed off
You know what I'm saying? Why are you pissed off now?
because he's only 6'1".
Oh, come on, man.
They got him listed as an edge. They
You
got him
heard
as
it
a
here
D end.
first. Mr. Logical says size matters. It's fine, man. It's fine. He's going to be a great player. It's fine. It's fine. Just breathe. Breathe. Just
Once
breathe.
again, shorten these
Come on.
parties.
Come on. Come on. Ready? Come on. Carl Winslow.
Right.
Come on. 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3. What the heck is bothering me? It's okay, bro. It's okay.
If
Knicks
he's
up by
gonna play
5.
in space, I'm good. But if they're gonna try to put his hand in the dirt, that just doesn't seem feasible in the NFL with 6'5" tackles. So if he's standing up, yeah. But if they're gonna try to push him off the edge, at 6'1", it just seems like that's gonna be pretty tough.
I like the pick. I know, Raph. I thought you were a supporter of the short kings.
As slot wide receiver, like yeah, if they're gonna have him standing up, middle inside linebacker, but I just don't want
No,
him
I
with
think
his
he's going to
hand.
be
I
on the
don't.
outside. I think he's going to be on the
Yeah,
outside, and
I
he's
don't
going
want
to
him. I don't
bring
want him with his hand in the dirt
pressure
because
on third down.
yeah, like hand in the dirt. I think that's a bad look. But if he's standing up, okay, I like it. Looks a lot like oh, that's a nice hole that he just beat.
Hey, I told you, man, it's a good pick.
Yeah, I like
It's one of
it.
the
I
best
just don't
picks.
want. I
It's
don't
one of the
want them to
best picks of
do.
the night.
I don't want them to do the wrong thing and try to put his hand in the dirt.
Hey, he was
If you,
projected to go to Carolina, so you know what I mean. Like y'all definitely got some value there.
yeah,
You know what I'm
so
saying? Act
I'm
like it.
excited. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm just afraid that my team is gonna botch it.
You know, I have to say, you know, draft night always sucks because you know, like all these years, my team was sorry,
And
and
you
we
always
had
get the picks early.
yeah, you get the early picks, so you get excited until they disappoint you. But now that we're good again, I gotta go wait and let the draft drag out.
And that's the thing with Atlanta is like Atlanta has been in a position for the last 4 years with a top 10 pick with flexibility. Make a move here, go from 8 to 5, 8 to 4, maybe go from 8 to like they've just been in positions where maybe they could have, squeezed a little blood out of the stone. And I felt like forward Cal Pitts it was almost a no-brainer. Like I think everyone was saying, like, hey, he is the best, best tight end or one of the best prospects in that draft. It didn't pan out because I don't think they deploy him properly. And then we went 8-8-8 3 years in a row, and then went Drake London, Bijan Robinson, Michael Penix Jr. And it's like none of those picks really helped the team. They're good,
Right.
but none of those picks were like, hey, this guy is going to be the reason we win 10 games. Like when you get a top 10 pick, he should be like that player's presence should be like, you should be like, yo, that's going to be, that's a couple of wins.
NFL Network just showed the same comparison that I had for Jalen Walker. Dante Hightower.
Dante Hightower was in Atlanta, I think, for a couple of years.
Yeah, so I'm really intrigued to see where Arizona goes here. I would like to see something, but I'm shocked that we haven't seen receivers yet. I was thinking that Golden would be primed to go already. Maybe Luther Burden somewhere in this window here, like coming up.
So probably because you think you have so many, and then the wide receiver need per team, it'll come back around to you.
Yeah, but it's deep too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, okay, if I don't get Golden or Luther Burden,
I can get Jaden Higgins later.
I can get this guy later, or maybe if everyone goes crazy on wide receiver runs, I can.
Yeah. So I think the receivers are going to be in this draft are going to be good. So we got the Knicks up 3 with about 5 seconds left, but they got possession of the ball as well. Tim Hardaway just hit a 3-pointer. So after the Cardinals, it gets real
Arizona
interesting.
Definitely probably should have gone wide receiver
because the Bengals.
I got the pick.
Yeah, they got the pick in. I just haven't seen it pop up yet.
I've seen it pop up. It's not on TV yet, but it's on NFL.com. I'll let you wait it out.
Oh, mine hasn't refreshed yet. So let me hit the button real quick. You could announce it if you got it. Oh, Walter Nolan, huh?
Yeah, I just want you to be able to see it too. And that's another thing that kind of gets me with Atlanta is like
he was right there.
He was right there.
He was right there.
He was right there. And if he's a wrecking ball away, keep in mind Atlanta passed on Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis both of those years. So it's like that's why I'm always like tentative when it comes to their picks. Is like the guy that goes next fills your need, and you didn't take him in your spot. And maybe you had a reason for it. Maybe you didn't like the interview. Maybe you thought he had too many people, whatever the case may be. Or you thought he went to too many schools, or whatever BS you came up with. But it's like sometimes you just got to put
BS.
You got to put the 300-pound defensive tackle across from the guard and the center and say, hey, man, eat up these 2 blocks so this linebacker we drafted in the 4th round can get through. So we'll see how he does in Arizona.
Yeah. Cincinnati has to go defense, right?
They better. Unless they say, you know what, we're going to just grade a show on turf.
They have
and
to
go Golden and put Golden in the slot. No, but they have the Yoshivas. The big
I like him a lot too.
But he might be,
but I really like
pounds from tight end too. So
I wish y'all would have got Walter Nolan,
Yeah,
big
6'3" and a half.
Yeah.
296.
The 4840, the 4840. So I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm not a GM, obviously, but we'll see.
And that's like you could move him inside, move him to the edge.
And I hate the word. I hate the word twitchy. And I hate the word twitch. They just use those words so much. But but one of the knocks on Walter Nolan is that how you watch basketball sometimes and you see a guy that's like 6'6", and you're like, but he don't play like it though. Like, he plays like he's 6'3" or, smaller. That's
Yeah.
my knock on Walter Nolan, is that he doesn't necessarily play his size, and it's because he has that speed. So I think he relies on that a little bit
Yeah.
more.
And I think you can get him to 310. When he gets his grown man body, you get him to 310, 315 once you get him in your program. And now he's eating up blocks like Calais Campbell. Granted, Calais Campbell was 6'8", but just that Tony Saragusa, like the run stopper, the dude that claws up the holes. Like that's why I'm always like looking for in Atlanta. Is like we have no inside pressure. We tackle well, but the problem is guys are running downhill so quick. It's probably a similar thing that the Bengals are dealing with. It's like, listen, we can score points in bunches, but none of you seem to be on the same page defensively.
So
That's
what are
gonna
they going
stop.
to do? Like, because they, they still got Trey Hendrickson to figure out, what they're going to do with him. And then the Bengals, and I guess you had to do some of these things to get your offense to where it is, but they had Jesse Bates. Who I think is the best safety in the league. They had Von Bell at
But
one point.
like
They
there's
brought him back.
rumors that the team is like, for NFL owner standards, they're kind of broke. And they just can't afford to, like they don't have an indoor practice facility. High schools in
Yeah,
Ohio have indoor practice facilities. It doesn't even need to be crazy. Just take 100-yard field side by side, put a plastic dome over it, and put some offices in there. Throw some Wi-Fi. Like it might cost a few million, but it's not like you just put it over the current space you
I
have.
got to think
While the
this.
guys aren't there, start building in February. It'll be done by the summer. So when you need it in the winter, it's ready to go.
I got
It
to
just
think this
seems
is.
like it just blows my mind that they didn't do that. Just sign over the name and rights to your stadium, take that money, build you an outdoor or indoor practice facility for these cold Ohio winters.
Now, I told you, man, they might be joining Dallas. Saying the Dallas Mavericks. Trying to get out of town.
You can't have two teams. Vegas is a dope city, but it's not enough space for two teams.
No, I know, but I wonder if the Bengals are looking at Mike Green here. Maybe still might be a little early. Jihad Campbell. I have Jihad going to Tampa myself. Shamar Stewart, who I mentioned earlier, a little overrated in my eyes, but definitely has the measurables and speed that you want to see. So maybe you grab. If I was Cincinnati, I might look at Iman Wari here. Maybe you look at a corner. Like I mean, because that's the thing with them. Like most teams we're talking about, like the Jets earlier, we're like they
Yeah,
could use this, and it was all offense or defense. With
they needed
Cincinnati, it's
to. Like
literally all defense.
Cincinnati needs defense. The Jets needed to fill
Like
multiple holes.
Cincinnati should
Atlanta
have found a
needs
way to get.
defense.
They should have found a way to petition to see if they could draft two players at once.
I mean, listen, you got Hendrickson right there. He wants to go. You can't give him the deal that he wants. Someone needs to come to the table and realize, you know what? What is Seattle doing at 18?
See, and Seattle's a wild card, right? Like they
You
could go a
want
lot of
our
places.
guy? You trade, like you go back to back picks. Maybe you call Denver. Denver loves defensive ends. Or maybe you want to go NFC. Like, all right, cool. Tampa Bay, what are you doing with 19? And just try to
Like
get a second, first round pick.
Well, that's the thing with Seattle, right? They could go a lot of places. You lost DK, you gave up, and you traded DK, let go of Lockett, so you got JSN, but you might need somebody next to him. Obviously, you could go defensive line, you could go offensive line, maybe linebacker. So Seattle can shift the draft as well, just depending on which way they
Yeah.
decide to go.
Since Houston's in win now mode because they have the young quarterback before they got to pay him, which
Well,
we're
they
thinking like
definitely got to look at offensive line.
they're gonna. Yeah, they have to go. But
All right, so the Bengals,
maybe you think all the guards are gone.
the Bengals with Shamar
What I got?
Stewart
Did they
out of
upgrade for
Texas
me?
A&M. He was the guy that I talked about a few minutes ago. Like the athletic freak that people fell in love with, like ran that 4.58. You know,
6'5", 267.
yeah. See, that sound like Falcon, right?
That sounds like something we
But
wouldn't
you, but
draft.
you, but you wanted inside. You know what I'm saying? But he,
I wanted inside scrimmage. I wanted the line of scrimmage. I needed somebody to push the guard, like the linebacker's not going to push the guard into the quarterback's lap. I needed that guy.
yeah,
Atlanta needs that guy because even when Grady Jarrett was doing his thing, he was good at getting off blocks and he was good at stopping a run, but he wasn't good at creating pressure up the middle because he was the only one. He didn't
yeah,
have a tandem. Like I think he played around 300 pounds, maybe 290. They needed a 300-pound guy next to him so that the guard and the tackle would have to like maybe double team him and maybe he can maybe Grady off the slide or like some kind of stunt could get a one-on-one matchup in the middle, but it just was guys were getting pushed around.
yeah. And I'm thinking Rashawn Gary for Shamar Stewart as far as the comp. Just raw speed that you can't teach. But with Shamar, the question is going to be the technique. So, does Cincinnati have the
Is this them
requisite
saying, hey,
staff?
you're going to replace Henderson or you're going to go to the opposite side of them?
I mean, I don't know because Cincinnati. I mean, Trey wants to get paid, and Cincinnati gave out the money, so I can't imagine he'll be there day one. I can't, or at the very least, maybe you trade him at the trade deadline. We'll see. But Seattle's on the clock now. The Knicks get out of Detroit with a 2-point win, 118-116.
He tried to keep it cool until he walked out and saw the fans. He was trying to keep it cool and on his little walkout.
And
Mr. Stewart.
Mr. Logical, you would be delighted to know that with 4 minutes and 41 seconds left in the first quarter, Memphis has a 26-17 lead on Oklahoma City.
Oh, look at that.
Thank you, ma'am.
It's always like a thank you very much. The role players get that boost, that
Yeah.
jolt.
Scottie
But as soon
Pippen
as
with 13 points in the first
yes,
quarter. Oh, Scottie Pippen Jr., that is.
yeah, but then the second quarter is going to come around. He's going to get 2 shots. There's like Tobias Harris had 22 points in the first half game, one against the Knicks. Then
Finished with
didn't score
25.
points till late in the fourth. Yeah, I think he
Yeah.
got like a couple of free throws.
All right, Seattle's on the clock. Like I said, they can go many different ways. Like, I know everybody's in love with the Rams, but if I'm Seattle and I feel like I can get some of what Sam Darnold did in Minnesota last year, I could be in the mix too. I got these two running backs, even though they can't stay healthy, Kenneth
Yeah,
Walker and Zach
it's
Charbonnet.
definitely winnable because you have, like I said,
Like,
I think
who
the
knows what
Rams
San
the Rams are just
Francisco is?
old.
They're a crater right now, and the Cardinals are just the Cardinals. So it's like nature moved the Mossy. Nothing left to say. Nature moved the Mossy. Like that's the Cardinals right now. But so I don't know if I'm Seattle. I might look receiver here because I didn't anticipate that Matthew Golden would still be here. So I may look there. I may look at getting edge rushing because your offensive line is kind of been depleted. So maybe you start looking at your what's my guy's name? Derek Harmon.
Okay,
Our guy, from the Ravens or that you thought the Ravens would get from Boston College.
absolutely. They're gonna get
So
one of these Nigerians in this draft.
maybe you look that way. Nick Scorton is a name that I haven't really seen a lot, but I
Does
think of him as
somebody
a
reach for
round
James
talent.
Pierce here late in the first?
I
Figure,
mean, why
hey,
not?
we have a winning program. We get him in here.
I mean, look, what's that old saying, right? Scared money don't make money. You know what I mean? Because we know that he can play football.
Yeah,
It's just the other things that, you know what I mean? And that's where you have to have a strong culture. You know what I mean? Not Mike McDaniel, I'm sorry, Mike McDonald, young head coach. Last year was his first year, came over from Baltimore. So you would like to think that he has some culture in him or, that he can
well, their
establish a
culture is
culture.
going to be we're going to run the ball a lot because they just drafted offensive tackle Gray Zabel from
Well, there
North
you
Dakota
go.
State.
There you go. And that's who I had in my
Carson
mock.
Wentz putting his boys on the map. There's been a lot of North Dakota State
Yeah.
guys going in
That's
first
who I
rounds
had.
ever
That's
since
who I had
Carson Wentz.
Seattle taking in my mock draft. And it just is what it is. It makes sense because Seattle. Remember, they used to bring in. They had Tom Cable as their offensive line coach, and they would just
Yeah.
give him scrap heaps and be like, "You're a great coach. Make it work."
And he was making it work
And he was making it work.
until he ran out. Yeah.
Yeah, and now you got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the clock. So this is where I had Jihad Campbell coming off. I think that he's another one of these athletic freaks, like the same way that Shamar Stewart is. Maybe he might not even be as polished um as him though, as Shamar Stewart. So, the Bucks probably need corner help. They did lose Carlton Davis to Detroit in the previous season.
Yeah. I'm looking at the highlights of Seattle's new tackle that looks like they're going to probably play him at guard. Big body, like I said, 6'5", 312. But another thing you got to worry about competition. But I think putting him down inside to play guard, that way he's not 1-on-1 with TJ Watt or in any given situation, but getting him inside, getting him some help, using athleticism, get him on the edge.
Yeah, if I'm
I think some teams just when you have to be willing to have a down year. Like you got to be willing to play through it, not get panicky, not fire coaches, not get rid of coordinators. Like, you know what? We're grinding through this year, very similar to Carolina. Like when they benched Bryce Young, I'm like, man, your job is pretty much locked in. You just signed your deal.
right.
But, like you say, you just needed a couple of weeks to regroup, brought him back, and he had a nice little run. You're looking for improvement, but some teams that they just make the move. Like, you know what? All right, Gino, you're gone. DK, you want to go. It doesn't have to be these battlefronts. Sometimes it's a matter of like, hey, I want this money. You don't want to pay it. Don't hold me hostage. Don't hold yourself hostage, because we talked about last year with T. Higgins in Cincinnati. It's going to be a lot of games where that hamstring's going to be very tight. He's not going to come out and play.
Mm-hmm.
That finger's going to hurt. You give me a check for $200 million and I slide across the table, my finger's going to be just fine all season long. But if you keep dangling me around like, oh, listen, man, my hands hurt, or I got this nagging calf thing. No one wants to mess around the calf because of the Achilles tear, and now you're at the mercy of this guy that you have been kind of jerking around for a while.
Right.
Come to a decision. Like, listen, it's not about power. It's not about making power plays. We've seen Jerry Jones kind of fall into that trap of, I love my players. They're like my sons when I draft them, and I want them part of the family. But when you sit down and negotiate, you put a whole new hat on, and you want to win the negotiation.
Yeah.
And you end up losing guys. You lose the locker room that way. Because if
Yeah.
Michael Parsons doesn't get a deal, it's going to be like, so if as hard as he plays and you're not going to give him a deal, like, why am I out here? Am I going to get a deal?
Right.
Or are you going to try to lowball me too? So, like, that stuff matriculates throughout your team. So, just being honest, making good moves. Like I said, I think Seattle's always made good moves. And like I said, their division's winnable.
Yeah.
It's a race of 10 wins.
100%. Just like the South. I'm looking for Tampa, like I said, Jihad Campbell, I like here because Levante David is getting a little long in the tooth. And you're probably going to have to replace him anyway.
I think they lost Godwin this offseason.
No, they re-signed Godwin.
You re-signed him?
Yeah, they re-signed him.
He's coming off this injury.
Yeah, he's coming off the injury, though. And then they got Zion McCollum, who broke out as a corner last year, but you probably need another corner beside him. So Tampa Bay, I think they probably go with Campbell just because, Todd Bowles, if nothing else, he's going to come after your quarterback.
Yeah, like when in doubt, when your offense is kind of set, your leaders of your division try to find a way to create sacks and turnovers.
Yeah, and just to clear that up, Tampa gave Chris Godwin 3 years, $66 million.
It's a good deal.
Yeah, coming off the injury. Yeah, he's an unrestricted free agent in 2028, so could be a 2-year deal,
So the
or I
pick
guess a
is
3-year
in.
deal. Yeah. So let's see. Here we go. Let's see if the
They're
pick is
playing it.
the
They're
pick is
playing the
definitely
Aaron
in.
Rodgers 2005 flashback.
Yeah, I saw Prime back there with Shedeur a little bit ago. I
But
was
the
going to
thing
bring it.
is,
I was going to bring it up,
we
but you
all
was
knew,
cooking.
yeah, yeah, we all knew that there wasn't a team between
Yeah, this
Tennessee.
this ain't a
So Cleveland,
Shedeur dropping thing.
yeah,
There's just not
the
anybody to
Saints. The Saints were maybe, but like I said, they had so many holes. Shedeur chance available entering night.
I
They
mean,
they they really had a Falcons potentially taking him.
whoever that is smoking that good stuff.
That was ESPN day.
So I mean,
ESPN draft day predictor had the Falcons at 21%, the Steelers at 7%.
see, I think if I was the somebody like the Browns, just because it's Pittsburgh, that's sitting there and wait.
I'm calling
I would
Denver
I
and
would
getting
just
back.
jump in right now. Yeah, like I would just jump in at the nth hour, and just be like, not so fast, my friends. Oh, one mic in the building. What's up? Saying mad at them Cowboys. No tet for you. No tet for you.
Yo, you lost a guard, you replaced a guard. That's a simple move.
You know what I'm saying? Well, I know
People
they
got to
drafted.
block. At least you went in the trenches.
Well, I know they got the lineman out of Oklahoma last year as well. So
Like Mike had the
oh,
vent
Tampa
first.
Bay. Whoa. We
Mecca
got
Buka
Emeka Ibuka. Saying another weapon.
in the slot for Baker
Another,
Mayfield.
yeah, for Baker Mayfield. Big play Bakers, they call them in the hot box.
And he's
You
going to
know,
have 4 seconds to throw against Atlanta because we don't have any interior pressure.
there you go. There you go. You know what I mean? So I mean, I think they had more pressing needs because Jalen McMillan came on late last year at receiver. So I think you could have waited for a receiver, but if you think that's your guy, because I mean Mike Evans, that we talk about, right? 11 straight seasons with 1,000 yards, but the
Yeah.
1,000 yards ain't important. It's the 11 years. So you know what I mean. So you might want to start your succession plan.
Yeah. And like I said, you got a couple more years left. This guy,
Tell him,
all
Mike.
time leader catches and receptions out of Ohio State. I listened to a few of his post game interviews. I could think his maturity is on point.
Yeah,
I like the way he spoke about his team and how he just how he articulated like what was going on the field. I think he really understands what's going on
Todd
and
Bowl with the
just
dad
talent.
jeans.
Chitabo and dad jeans.
Yeah. Dallas
Yeah,
needs
so
Jaden Higgins, huh? That'd be a great pickup, Mike. And the good news is you might be able to hold out to the third round to get him. So as we sitting here now, saying Denver's on the clock,
that's a
soon to
great
be
play
the
call. I can't
Steelers.
believe they didn't call that more against Michigan.
So I would like for Denver to go a Marion Hampton here. As I mentioned, they don't have anybody on the roster that ran for 600 yards. Javante is oh, here we go. See?
That's some
Dion,
action.
shut up, please. Shut
What?
up, Dion. The
Is he on
rejected
TV?
will a tweet. The rejected will be respected. Nobody rejected your son. Nobody
That
needs a
was
quarterback right
I
now.
think that's already something Shedeur put out in a Gatorade ad this week.
I don't care when they put it out. Shut up. It ain't about you tonight. You know what I'm saying? Go celebrate your
I mean, it
jersey.
might be.
Nah,
I
go
mean, if
go
his
celebrate.
name was Shedeur Thompson, I think he
Go
goes number
celebrate
one.
Shedeur's jersey. You know what I'm saying? Go out there and just, say have some sweet tea looking at Shedeur's jersey hanging up in Folsom Field. Hanging out with Gilly.
This is crazy.
Hanging out
I
with
like it. I
Gilly.
think the draft and the thing, because I was deployed one year, 2018, I think I watched the draft, maybe 2019. 2019. Watching the draft. I was watching the draft with a guy. Wasn't we had it on in the production office when I was there from like my third deployment. And this guy was like, "You really gonna watch the draft?" No, it was the 2018 one. It was the one where Baker Mayfield went first overall. It's like, "You guys really gonna watch the draft?" I was like, "Yeah, it's what we do." He's like, "I can't believe you guys are sitting there watching." I was like, "What do you watch?" He's like, "I watch F1." I'm like, "So you just watch the guys drive really fast?" He's like, "Yeah, but I really like cars." I'm like, "Yeah, we really like football." So it was like, this is our off season. This is what we do as football fans. We like to watch. We watch, and so I think it was just one of those situations where I get it, but in the same sense, I don't. I'm like, yo, this is what people find entertaining. I like these guys that getting their dreams to come true, getting their name called. I just want them to be focused
Right.
and see who's been successful. Like, talk about Warren Buffett. It's good to learn a lesson, but it's good to learn from other people's mistakes as well. Like I said, all these parties, that's cool. Get to your team, get your contract squared away, start working. The dream is when you're asleep. Now you're awake. Go out there, pursue, work. You know, earn these spots that you get drafted at. Don't come in like, oh, I'm the first round pick. I can't lose my spot. You can. Ask Gus Frerotte and Heath Schuler. Heath Schuler was running for senator, and Gus Frerotte was still out here slinging the ball around. So,
Yeah, Emeka Buka, is a good pick. The all-time Ohio State leading wide receiver. Which is crazy to think about when you think about the names that came through there. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I'm sure Jeremiah Smith, if he stays long enough,
he has 2 more years before he can go. One.
Yeah, two, because he was a true
He has to play.
freshman this year.
He has to play 2 more years.
Him and Ryan Williams down at Alabama, both true freshmen.
Yeah, I'm playing this year, and then I'm going to train for the draft.
So we got the end of the first quarter. Memphis 40, OKC 29. John Moran only 4 points. Scottie Pippen Jr. with 14. Jaren Jackson with 7. SGA.
How many T-Rex hit?
T-Rex got nothing.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? But Denver on the clock, like I was gonna say. I would like a Marion Hampton here. Just to fill up that running back room. But with somebody like Golden still here, you might have to look at that to put somebody across from Cortland Sutton. They're a real receiver away from putting true. I can't even speak. Putting true pressure on the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, T-Rex is Bane. Yeah. So my little arms, I can't reach. But yeah, so Denver, I think definitely has to go one of those two positions. They ranked top 3 in defense last year, so you can always shore that up. But at the end of the day, I think you need a playmaker because Cortland Sutton struggles with separation. He's not necessarily.
So you want a playmaker from the backfield, or you want a wide receiver?
I think the backfield because for me personally, and I said this the other night. I think Omarion Hampton's the best running back in the draft. So with your putrid running back room, you got to do something. Because Javonte Williams is gone. You had your rookie from Notre Dame last year, who Audric Estime, who showed some talent, but not necessarily.
It's going down, man. We got 20. Says the pick is in on the clock. Is Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh's got to go Shedeur. Even if Aaron Rodgers is potentially coming, you got to go Shedeur, right?
Well, if you go Shedeur, you tell Aaron Rodgers to fuck off.
Because
we're the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know what I mean? Like, we're the Pittsburgh Steelers. We don't wait for you. People want to play for us. We are the premier NFL franchise, the first team to win 6 Super Bowls. You come kiss our ass. We're not kissing yours. That's the message to Aaron Rodgers. And if you get Shedeur, have a nice life, sir.
I mean, Shedeur, I don't want to call it a slide. And this is also going to be the slide.
Just if there were teams that needed
availability.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If there were teams that needed quarterbacks,
if
And
Jaxson Dart and Tyler Shook went 9-12, then I'd be like,
then
then
you're
it's a
upset.
slide. Yeah.
Then you're upset because as you look at this, think about it, right? Like, I'm not even mad at a team for not trading up to get them because that's me wasting a pick when none of them are picking you.
Yeah.
So
Why am
yeah,
I, like I said, to go
don't bring
from
feelings to a fact fight, Dion. Oh, Denver went corner. They went and got my guy, Jade Barron, aka Trent McDuffie, the Thorpe Award winner, who was not Travis Hunter, by the way.
I think
Oh,
they're
wow.
preparing. They're probably preparing for Kansas City to do wide receiver, like
Oh, you
make
think they
wide
got some
receiver
intel?
moves.
You think they got some
Maybe,
intel?
maybe Kansas City is calling Pittsburgh about Pickens' availability. They had Tyreek Hill. They know how to deal with an eccentric wide receiver.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
Look at
I
this
like this.
party.
I don't know if Denver needed it because they got the defensive player that here got Patrick Surtain, and they got Riley Moss out there. So I mean, you could have probably got a corner later, but I'm never gonna get mad at you for taking this type of talent. But I thought that running back but see now, okay, so now let's play this out, right? So Shedeur should be the pick.
Correct.
Okay. So Pittsburgh has Jalen Warren in the backfield. They went out and got Kenneth Gainwell from Philly. So if you think Aaron Rodgers is coming, they're waiting for him. I would imagine that if you're waiting for him, you have some kind of assumption
Contingency
or
plan. If they go running back here, that means Aaron Rodgers said, "I'll be there in May."
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, because like he might not want to do OTAs. He might.
Yeah.
You remember the Brett Favre thing? Like I ain't
Yeah.
doing no damn training camp.
Maybe he wants to just get that second annual trip to Egypt and answer all these questions that him and Neil deGrasse Tyson always come up with.
Oh man, this is
But
nerve wracking. Oh, the pick is in.
the pick is in.
The pick is in. What's Pittsburgh gonna do, y'all? Mr. Logical been waiting for this all night.
I'm excited for this.
So it's not every day.
It's multi-layered. Like, I mean, Mike Tomlin from the same city. Obviously, Dion's my favorite player. He was, the legend of my favorite team. He's a reason why I like my favorite team. So
it's not every day you can get a quarterback to your roster that had their jersey retired. Like you gotta take. I mean, you gotta take that. It's gotta be Shedeur.
I don't have any sound on, so I'm just kind of looking at the body language. But I'm also like, it's a couple minutes behind.
I swear, this is the longest pick is in. Like, I'm just waiting for I'm waiting up there. I'm waiting for Goodell to get up there and say that Pittsburgh is drafting T.J. Watt's replacement.
Well, that's Jaxson Dart. Oh, he's in Kaysville. I knew he's from Utah.
Yeah.
He better not be drinking liquor.
I might be living in Kaysville one day.
Yeah, that looks like a Kaysville party.
So they probably just got back from Swigs. Yo, we got a Swigs here.
I don't even know what Swigs. What is Swigs?
It's like the little Mormon. It's the Mormon soda because they're not supposed to have soda. So
I don't even look in that aisle.
Yeah, it's like the little.
I like sugar in my soda.
It's like the little Mormon soda shop. Like it's literally 5 minutes from my house. I keep telling my little Mormon she got to take me up there. Former Mormon, that is. Oh, it's not Shedeur. Derek Harmon. Derek Harmon, come on down to the Pittsburgh Steelers. What the fuck?
Yo.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
This is different than what I expected.
I cannot take this. Oh my! I feel like Fred Sanford right now. Oh, Elizabeth, this is the big one. I'm coming, baby.
Is Dion gonna say something that maybe pushes him out of the second round?
Gonna say something. Oh, I mean, the Steelers got a good pick. Don't get me wrong, but still, like, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, these fan reactions, bogus. They keep the camera in your face. It's very intimidating. So the camera, like literally standing right there. So the pick is in, they find the fans that wearing the jerseys, and it's like the camera's just right in your face. He's like, yeah, woo, yeah, woo. I had no idea who this 5th-round linebacker would be drafted in 2017 was. I just was at the draft. Me and my son, he's on the chair. I'm like, yeah, ATL. Ah. And the dude just standing there holding the camera, just like how long am I supposed to do this? It was like 45 seconds. I'm just standing there, just me and my son. We're the only Falcons fans in the room.
Bro,
I'm just like, this is nuts. Get
we
this
said it,
camera out
right?
of my face.
But we say it all the time, right? The Steelers' formula is to run the football, play defense.
Stop you from running the football.
Stop you from running the football. Like there's Deion, Shedeur, and Gilly. You know, like I wonder what's really going through Shedeur's head right now. Like he's probably just making a list. Like this team had a pick. This team had a pick.
It's
we got the Chargers on the clock.
So we got
Jim Harbaugh. What's up? When Jim Harbaugh gonna hire Colin Kaepernick as a assistant coach or something, or like
listen,
assistant QB coach or something?
We said about Shedeur. It's the same thing with Tim Tebow. The same thing with AB. Sometimes the media attention that comes along with you as a player might be too much. It simply might just be too much. Like, hey, it's just too much to deal with. I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear the questions. I don't want any of that stuff. So it's like, I'll sacrifice a couple points a game to not have X, Y, Z on the team.
So, all right. So let's play this out real quick. I just got to ask this question. Is there any way Jaxson Dart goes before Shedeur? And don't let Tyler, like you mentioned Tyler Shuck, don't let him go in front of Shedeur. Said I might boycott the NFL myself if he goes in front of Shedeur.
I don't know, because like I said, as we look at it right now, Tennessee has got their quarterback. We still think the Saints need a quarterback. We still think Pittsburgh needs a quarterback.
Cleveland.
I don't know what the Deshaun Watson deal is. If they plan on getting rid of him at the end of the deal, they restructured his deal. Yeah. So I don't know if all of his guaranteed money is going to be this wave of all season. And
I know, man, I'm shocked too.
So, like I said, the Rams. I think the Rams would take Jaxson Dart before they took Shedeur, just
Why?
because.
Oh, because of the personality and
because I won't have to answer questions every single week about Jaxson Dart, and I can sell the Matthew Stafford is going to Jaxson Dart's going to get opportunity to learn everything he can from Matthew Stafford. Like that statement is enough. I don't know if that has the same ring with Shedeur's going to learn everything he can from Matthew Stafford.
Challenging the owners and GMs intellect. What are you going to do to Matt Stafford?
Yeah, so unless New Orleans has a trick up their sleeve where they're going to jump back in the first round, Shedeur, it wasn't like I didn't believe he wasn't going to go on the first round. My thing was like, I just didn't think he was going to be the 3rd or 4th QB taken. But right. If you look at it as a team, this isn't fantasy football. This is realistic. I was like, maybe Arizona was done with Kyler Murray. They wanted to come off of him. Maybe on a draft night kind of move.
Right.
Like maybe they're having conversations and they say, you know what? We're going to move on from him. But short of that, Minnesota's not going to do it because they just drafted their guy. Green Bay just extended their guy. The Chargers just extended their guy. Houston just drafted their guy. Matthew Stafford, they pretty much convinced to come back for a couple of years. Last thing you want to do is Kirk Cousins him. Baltimore got their guy. Detroit got their guy, and they have Hendon Hooker sitting in wait. So it's like, why bring in another guy just to study and learn? Like, why take a roster spot doing that? Washington got their guy. Buffalo has their guy. Kansas City and Philly have their guy. So it's like he's just it's just one of those years where
Would you take Hendon Hooker over some of these quarterbacks?
no, I
No, I'm
wouldn't
just asking a question, like separate question. Like,
because
you call
I have
Detroit,
him in the
you call
building.
Detroit and say, like, hey, like,
No.
no.
If I'm Detroit because I have him in the building, I know where his progression started and where it is and where I think he can work in our system.
But how long are you holding on to Goff to wait to give him the opportunity?
I mean, Goff doesn't run around, doesn't get hurt. Like, you have to have a backup plan. I think they did a good job because they got value out of him because he was injured, so he was going to rehab. Maybe someone does call in the middle of the season. Maybe somebody calls next off season. But if I'm looking to draft a rookie, I'd rather take a rookie and mold him to fit our system.
Well, that's why I wonder, because if you're somebody like Kellen Moore, right? Your first time as a head coach, and generally speaking, you're going to be tied to whatever quarterback you draft. I would have to imagine that as a quarterback, there's somebody that you've had your eye on. And maybe it's next year. Like I said, Drew Aller, Kate Klubnik, different guys coming out next year.
But
like,
you got to play 17 games this year.
I don't care though. But if it's about the future, saying you're not trying to go. The Saints aren't trying to go.
But you don't hold off. You don't ignore talent because you think the future talent is going to benefit you further into the future because there's no guarantee. Say, for instance, the Saints, if they don't get the quarterback right, like I know everyone says quarterback's important. I think offensive line is important. I think wide receiver. I think teams are important, but the quarterback can hold you back. Like if your 100%. Team is well put together, if your quarterback can't sustain drives week in and week out, it's gonna hold you back. Zach Wilson was proof of that. Sometimes he'd be able to get you 17 points, 20 points, and the defense could hold. But if Spencer Rattler can't get you what you need, you might end up being the top pick, but there's no guarantee that Arch Manning is going to be the guy either, or Drew Aller is going to be the guy either.
Speaking of Arch Manning, Archie is the last first-round quarterback the Saints took back in 1971. But I just think that, I don't want to apply NBA rules to the NFL and say like tank or whatever. But if I'm a team that knows that we're not competing this year, I don't want to draft a quarterback just to draft a quarterback.
Yeah, but the problem when we talked about tanking the NFL, the game in and of itself is too physical, and too many people are literally putting their bodies on the line for you as a front office. Yeah, you might be cheap as a front office. Like, hey, we're not going to blow a bunch of money on a guy, but you're not going to bench your all-pro guy to bring in a backup practice squad guy just so you ensure you get the first-round pick. See what I'm saying? Like, the NBA does that because the NBA is just basketball. It's just run up and down the floor.
Real quick, speaking of basketball, Memphis up 24 right now.
OKC having a Boston night.
You know what I'm saying? Denver's up 5 on the Clippers in the first quarter. Aaron Gordon with 11
Let's
points.
Go Nuggets. I'm sick of this Clipper hype.
Nah, man.
That dude's still playing basketball.
I told you Kawhi done put that WD-40 on them knees, man.
Let's go Jokic. Let's go Yoke. But so that's what I'm saying. That's the problem with NFL teams is like you can't. But
you can't draft a dude that you don't believe in just because he's there.
I'm saying don't draft him, but you can't not draft Jaxson Dart. If you think Jaxson Dart's going to be a good quarterback, if you think he's going to, say you get a couple of rounds, so you're in the third round, you have Spencer Rattler still, Jaxson Dart is sitting there, and it's like, we kind of hope we suck this year and get Arch. Like, it doesn't seem like a viable thing. But if Derek Carr is going to be back, okay, then don't draft the QB. Ride with Spencer Rattler. but you can't put a substandard team on the field.
The
And
Chargers, Omarion Hampton.
well, that was easy. I want to see the video of Jim Harbaugh when he saw
Hey,
when he woke up from his nap and it was like, yo, he's available.
pull up that Booker T. Kansas City, we take what we want. And after we done with the Raiders and the Broncos, we coming for the gold, sucker. Kansas City, we coming for you. Yes.
Mooresville, North Carolina.
That's my guy.
Everyone's
Best running
crying.
back the best running back in the draft, in my opinion.
1, 2, 3.
The best running back in my, in the draft, in my opinion, so like
He
I don't
looks
know.
like a linebacker. What are his stats?
He's 6 foot 220.
6 foot 221.
With a 4.48. I love that pick for the Chargers, but they did just pick up Najee Harris as well. So, you got your Thunder and Lightning, I guess.
I guess this is the year
you got Thunder and Thunder.
Just did he get out? He's not getting out of this tackle. Jesus.
Now you got Green Bay on the clock. So I'm gonna keep saying this over and over, right? Well,
actually, I'm not vision. Look at that.
I'm gonna say it a little differently, though. So in the offseason, when the season ended, there was some drama in Green Bay because Josh Jacobs made the comment about how they need a number one receiver. And
yeah, sometimes dudes, you gotta stop doing podcasts. You gotta stop doing podcasts. Stop talking publicly.
So if you're Green Bay, are you looking at a number one wide receiver here?
Absolutely not. I'm gonna ride or die with the same young guys I have, the quarterback that can get him the ball, and I'm gonna go.
You know who I want right here? I want Will Johnson right here. You're on the outs with Jair Alexander. You got Xavier McKinney at safety, leading the league in picks and all that kind of stuff. Solidify that secondary, you know what I mean? Like maybe get, a lineman if you can, like a defensive lineman. I'm talking about like our guy, like I keep trying to say his name, Ezaraku. I think that's how you say it. Ezaraku, maybe you look there. You know what I'm saying? Maybe offensive line if there's somebody that tickles your fancy because, Jordan Love is prone to getting hurt. Granted, last year injury wasn't necessarily
that was the injury that he suffered in Brazil was partly the field.
That was the field, yeah.
The field was god awful.
Yeah, but I think I like Will Johnson here or Maxwell Hairston, one of those two. I would say Will Johnson, but so we'll see. I'm shocked Will Johnson is still there, but there was talk about how he could potentially slide due to his 40 time, due to some questions about him because he's a ball hawk.
Yeah, like is he gonna be caught? Is he gonna be like Marcus Peters, where it's like he's looking in the backfield like Trayvon Diggs?
Well, I was thinking Asante Samuel. Yeah, but yeah, same concept.
Yeah. Yeah, I figure you go corner here. I like the 3-4 headed monster that they run out there with the young wide receivers because you need a number one guy if your quarterback needs a number one guy, then your team needs one. But if your quarterback can get the ball around and he's been in the system for a while, and I like Matt LaFleur's system. I think it gets a lot of guys open, So I don't think you need a number one guy. But if you're a team like Pittsburgh, you don't have a really dynamic passing game. It's not a multi-layered passing game. It's very simple. Like this route is coming all the way across. There's not a lot of option routes I imagine because there's Arthur Smith. I've seen it for 3 years with Atlanta. It's not a lot of option routes and it's very simple. You need a number one guy that can go up and get it.
So let's go with Hairston here because Shefty just tweeted out that Will Johnson has a concerning knee issue that teams are afraid of. So maybe we go Hairston here. Green Bay goes Hairston here. So, hey, Mike, are you still there? How about this? What do you think about Will Johnson as a better DaRon Bland?
That's gonna be tough, man. DaRon Bland had 5 pick sixes 2 seasons ago.
I said
that's a tough. that's a tough
I
comparison
said what I
to
said.
make.
Well, you don't got to have the picks to be better necessarily. Like the
But
touchdowns to be,
but
you know.
but to be able to do that, you're really good in coverage if you are able to pick all 5 passes and return them all for touchdowns.
Not necessarily.
So,
You might just have good closing speed.
but to get all of them touchdowns, that means you're at an intellectual level in that defense where you are in complete command of your
I think
side of
that's
the
what Will
field.
Johnson is. So we got Memphis 67, OKC 40 with about 3:20 left in the second quarter.
Yes, I
This
guess
is nuts.
we should have took the
Why
under.
why is the NBA like this? And then you got Clippers 29, Denver 28, 132 left in the first quarter. Jokic doing his thing, 6 points, 4 boards, 7 assists. Aaron Gordon still with 11, James Harden with 10 points, 3 assists.
All right, are they working on a trade or what?
Oh, Mike gave us the reason, Mr. Logical. Because it's rigged. Yeah, so Green Bay, like I said, I guess I'll like Hairston here. Until
The
I
guy
hear
out of
more
Kentucky.
about until I hear more about this Will Johnson injury.
I was playing NCAA. Harrison was the guy.
Oh,
If I picked it off, I'm taking it to the house.
Speaking of
Very
which, July
fast.
10th. July 10th. That's when 26 comes out.
I haven't played in a while. I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty. I haven't played Madden in a while either. I like it, but
I've
you
been
can't
playing
like with Madden. You
WWE.
can't get a full game. NCAA dudes will play it all the way out because the craziest things could happen. You could be up 21-0 and then 4 plays later the game's tied. Madden, you pick a dude off and you score a touchdown and pick the guy's pass off in the first drive, he's quitting. Like, man, it is 7-0 in the first quarter.
I've been playing WWE.
I can never figure out those wrestling games, even back all the way to like Sega Genesis. The pick is in finally.
Yeah, finally. Green Bay fucking around. Jihad Campbell's still out there. Eamon Warry's still out there.
Detroit Lions.
So
15-2.
Daniel Jeremiah of the NFL Network still has Shedeur right now as the 5th best player
available.
left.
5th best or best player left?
5th best player available. He had him at 20 overall.
Oh, ESPN has him as the number 1 best player available.
Okay.
And they had him like that for a while. Like they've had him like that since probably.
We know where Prime sent the check.
Yeah. So Mel Kiper's best available: Shedeur, Will Johnson. So I guess he didn't get the news about the knee. Josh Simmons, offensive tackle, Ohio State,
coming off of ACL.
Matthew Golden, wide receiver, Texas. He's in the green room. And Nick Emenwari, South Carolina, safety.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's been a crazy draft. Travis Hunter he went to Green Bay, right?
Well, Travis Hunter went to Jackson. Oh, yeah, he's at the draft. Yeah,
he's at the draft. Yeah, because like I said, I didn't have my stream up yet.
Yeah, he was walking around with the pink suit.
All right, Mark Murphy make the pick. He has the most Wisconsin I'm going to work suit on. Like the shirt has like the buttons on it. Like just I'm gonna wear my work suit for this my day job.
Now my computer want to act up.
Now we're good. We got Mark Murphy at the podium. Green Bay fans are going ape. It still doesn't look as cool as the one in Philly. But it's Green Bay.
Screen back now. But yeah, Green Bay, I don't know. Like,
I think you just at this point you go whatever.
What is our biggest available? I guess
Yeah. What is our biggest need, and who's the best player available to fill that need? Your best need isn't quarterback, so it's not. You don't need Shedeur. So if you're like, you know what, I think we need to get another linebacker. You just get the best linebacker that's available.
Yeah.
But I mean, it took them, was it 7 minutes for their picks in the first round,
Yeah,
and
Matthew
then
Golden
five.
it is. Green Bay got that number one receiver, maybe.
He's been talking. Listen, ever since I said something about his suit with the buttons, he's been talking this whole time on the TV. He still ain't made the announcement. NFL.com popped it up. You made the announcement. He's still talking.
Yeah,
He
Matthew
just said it.
Golden. All right, so we got the
I mean, if
Minnesota
you're a wide
Vikings.
receiver, I mean, can you land in a better spot?
We got the Minnesota Vikings on the clock right now. So a couple of things for them, right? You know, I'm looking at safety. I'm looking at corner. I'm looking at offensive line. Maybe you look at a Donovan Jackson. Maybe you look at a Emma Worry. You lost Cam Bynum, so maybe you're looking at a Hairston or Will Johnson. So I was wondering.
I say you go safety, put him next to your legendary safety you've had there for years.
Well, I was wondering, like thinking about Minnesota. Obviously, you know, we're talking about JJ McCarthy earlier.
Correct.
Aaron Rodgers, apparently Minnesota pulled out of the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes, if you
They
will.
should never been in it. And
You
that and
know,
like you talk about the tanking, I'm like, give JJ a chance. You drafted him, see what he can do. Yeah.
we heard
Sorry.
rumors about Kirk Cousins,
Another move you
but
shouldn't make. You should have paid
but
him
they don't but they
last
don't
year.
but they don't have another quarterback on the roster, if I remember correctly. So, you might need to address something. Do you want JJ McCarthy and a fourth round quarterback or a fifth round quarterback? I mean, unless
Um
you just want to basically like guarantee him the job from a confidence
so when the
standpoint.
Giants trade back into the first round, take Shedeur, you call New York and go get Winston to be your backup. Or maybe I don't know. This doesn't make a lot of sense because
I'm not giving
I
up
want
no.
my backup to have some kind of success. So like Will Levis wouldn't be a good move. I figured I figured they'll get a guy in that they know they can kind of run their system like a
Like a
CJ
like a
Beathard,
Nick Mullins.
like a Nick Mullins, CJ Beathard, one of those kind of players, like just a guy that could just be the backup. And if it doesn't work out with JJ, then you make a midseason move. Maybe you call somebody off of their couch. Maybe you bring in Carson Wentz, something along those lines. Like I think
Yeah, I was going to
you'll do
say,
something
like,
like that.
yeah, I was looking at the list here. So there's Aaron Rodgers, Carson Wentz, Teddy Bridgewater, C.J. Beathard, Tyler Huntley, Brett Riffin, who was
Bringing
on the roster,
Bridgewater back to Milwaukee. I mean, Minnesota wouldn't be a bad move.
Jeff Driscoll, Desmond Ritter, and Jake Fromm. That's funny that you say that. I was watching a clip Fox News the other day, and Laura Ingraham, Miss Shut Up and Dribble. She
Yeah,
goes, if it's one thing that I know about Minnesota is that Milwaukee is getting awful as far as crime goes. And I was like,
yeah. It's okay to be slow, baby. Intelligence isn't for everyone.
yeah,
It
it's
gets
overrated, I
divided up.
guess.
Yeah, it gets divided up, and some people get a little pour, and some people get a whole can. Know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But that's how it goes. Yeah, I like Minnesota, but once again, like I said,
I think I
a
want to
lot
go.
of
I
teams,
think I want to go
and
Ema
we had
Warrior.
this conversation a lot, like this hypothetical situation with quarterbacks. I I get it that you don't want to be stuck like Chuck when you don't have a good backup quarterback. That's something we used to say in Virginia. I don't know. It's when I was growing up. I remember you were saying it and that just popped in my head. But also I wouldn't put too much stock into having a backup just in case my quarterback gets hurt. There's always going to be guys available that you can run with, but get guys on the team that fit what you're trying to do. You drafted a guy, give him a shot.
Well, that's why I brought up the other night. Remember, that's why I brought up with the Jets taking Justin Fields. Is that a potential landing spot for somebody like a Jalen Milroe? Just from the standpoint of, like if something does go wrong, like whether that's Fields being ineffective, Fields being hurt, not having to scrap the offense. Like I can still run the offense.
Yeah. And I like that if Justin Fields was in a Lamar position when they went and got Huntley. Like Lamar had been there. He took over the position from Flacco. He had a couple of years, and then it was like, all right, cool, we'll go get a backup. Justin is coming in trying to prove that he's the starter. So getting a guy, everyone knows this. The NFL fans' favorite player is the backup quarterback. And the last thing you want is a guy who's already, I wouldn't say he's been jaded, but he has been put in situations where his success was going to take a Herculean effort. Because in Chicago, they couldn't get it right. Then they had Andy Dalton there. Then they had Nick Foles. And they just kept they moved up in the draft to get them and then bring in two guys to compete with them.
Oh, here we go, Mr. Logical. Come on back up in here, Big Blue.
Giants made a trade.
Giants are on the clock, trading with the Rams. Oh, is this the moment that people have been waiting for? Minnesota went offensive. Minnesota went offensive line with Donovan Jackson.
Yep.
Oh, so it looks like they moved out with Houston. It looks like, not the Rams.
Okay, so he jumped in front of the Rams.
Oh, here we go, Big Blue, baby.
Jaxson Dart.
Yo, if it's Jaxson Dart, I will get up and walk away right now. But I was looking at this free agent list since I pulled up the quarterbacks. We still got Nick Chubb out there.
Houston, Texas trade pick to New York. Oh.
We got Nick Chubb out here. J.K. Dobbins is available. Cam Akers, Deontay Foreman.
Keenan, trying to get the details.
Ooh, I didn't realize
Joe Shane made a move.
I didn't realize Keenan Allen was a free agent.
Yeah, I heard rumors that potential Charger reunion is likely or possible. All right, so he's on the phone with someone.
Yo, if they take Jaxson Dart, I'm telling you, I will get up and walk away.
I mean, listen. Hold on, Mike. I think they took Jaxson Dart. I think we might not. I think we might be all over the place, but they don't start black quarterbacks. So,
I mean, it's a new regime, right? Shane wasn't in charge when the Eli thing happened.
I don't know what's going on. No, they did it. They took Jaxson Dart.
No, they didn't.
No way. Hold on.
No, they did. No, I didn't say the owner. I'm talking about the GM.
Oh, yeah, they did. He's standing up smiling, taking pictures.
They did not take Jaxson Dart.
He's standing up smiling, taking pictures.
Bruh, I need my CBS back because this
somebody's patting him on the back, though, so it might be.
This ESPN shit is slow. I need my CBS back.
Oh, people are shaking his hand. Yep.
Here we go.
They took Jaxson Dart.
No fucking way.
I bet you they did.
No fucking way.
I bet you they took Jaxson Dart. Nothing's updating right now. The stream is doing crazy nonsense.
No fucking way.
People are tapping them and patting them on the back.
After my man wore the Giant shoes in the bowl game and everything? No fucking way. See, you see what happened? See, Shedeur Sanders, Deion Sanders, and everybody listening, this is what happened when you wear a team's colors and get your ass whooped by BYU.
They drafted a kid from Utah.
This is what happens. And as I said I was going to do, because I ain't seen it come through yet, so I ain't trying to believe y'all yet.
It
ain't come through yet.
Listen.
I just see the picks are in and the Rams are on the clock. That's all I see right now.
All I see is the pick is in. Mike has it. I don't know.
The hot box got it. All right, I'm walking away.
The Giants on a real organization. Come on. They did do it.
All right, so I got a serious question right now. Is Shiloh going to get drafted before Shedeur?
I mean, he did have a great 40 time, and no one said anything negative about his interviews. Man, I don't know how bad his interviews could have been unless they thought he was thinking he was Dion and not Shedeur. And what did Jaxson Dart do in all his years between USC and Ole Miss?
So how about this, Mr. Logical, real quick? So we got halftime in Memphis. 77-51 Grizzlies.
Got it. Great.
Scottie Pippen with 23 points at the half. Ja Morant with 15 and 5. SGA, with 18. You got the Clippers up 45-32 on the Nuggets. I told you Aaron Gordon had 11 points with about 4 minutes left in the first quarter. He still has 11 points. Jokic is on the bench now. Michael Porter with 2 points and 2 rebounds. Whew.
Yeah.
Bro.
Why do you have Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston on your team?
So, why? Yo, Russell starting, right? Russ starting,
I have no idea
right?
what Giants are doing. All I know is that their ticket's going to be $30 come October, and I'm going to get a nice little cheap seat.
Yo, I need
because they're not a winning organization.
I need the Rams to take Shedeur, bro, just so we can stop talking about him now. It's not fun anymore. It's not. It was fun for the first hour. It's not fun anymore.
I don't care what they said. His interviews couldn't have been that bad. So we got the Raiders are going to trade with Detroit and get Shedeur and put it behind Gino.
That might work. Oh, Ro said that, what up, Ro? They said the Falcons moved up.
Okay.
I ain't seen
Let's
that yet.
do something else that disappoints
I ain't seen
me.
that yet. But hey, you know what you said earlier? You said the Falcons were say go to get Shedeur.
I'd be so thrilled and pissed at the same time.
So the Rams are on the clock right now, until I see otherwise. And, I'm going to keep repeating it until it happens. Will Johnson, Hairston, or, saying, oh, that's a good call, Mike. If the Falcons are back up there, can we get, could the Falcons get Luther Burden? Okay, so the Falcons got the Ram spot. So the Falcons are on the clock now. Okay. Got it. Saying? So, here we go. I'm excited for this, Mr. Logical. Saying? Hey.
The pick is in. My stream is dying. I'm over here.
So the Giants took the 25th pick and gave Houston a second, a third, and a 2026 third round pick. Please get Raph a wide receiver. Hey, Raph need a tight end too.
Nah, we need. I mean, at this, I don't know.
The same draft tracker I was on earlier. This one kind of slow. What?
Yeah, I'm on this and trying to try another one.
Let's see. Is this the one? Where's the one that I had? I had a different CBS draft tracker that was a lot faster than this one. This ain't the same one. All right, I'm going to go back to ESPN against my will.
Yeah.
ESPN showing the Falcons on the clock now. Yeah, so Atlanta, right? Do you go double up? Do you go get Jihad Campbell here?
I double up on defense. if I could. Like I'd get another defensive playmaker because Mooney just kind of turned himself into a dynamic number two. Drake London's all over the place. Maybe you work a little bit more efficiency to get Kyle Pitts and you have Bijan Robinson. But the defensive players you have on the roster right now, I don't know. I think they might have all kind of reached their ceiling. So
Yeah.
get another guy that you can, build with and go from there. So I like going defense here, maybe corner. Uh Opposite AJ Terrell. I know they just gave him like a little extension. But for me, like I said, because I don't know what the defensive tackle situation is looking like at 26. I don't know if all the top guys, all the projected first round guys are already gone. So I
Well,
would go with the top projected, corner.
they really took Jaxson Dart, bro. Yeah, so I'm thinking Luther Burden maybe if they're going to go wide receiver. If not, um, Harrison.
I'm gonna think.
But
I
I think I
think they're
like
gonna go
Jihad Campbell
corner.
in this spot. I'm surprised he fell this far.
What
him and
position?
he's a linebacker. Him and off ball linebacker. Him and what's his name? Shamar Stewart were a lot alike as far as the athleticism being the reason that they were thought of so highly.
What are the
But
measurables?
I think Campbell had a little bit. Let me pull up my thing here. But I think that he had a little bit more in his game that I liked. That is Lethal's guy. Jihad is 6'3", 244 with a 4.5 40.
I like it.
If I had to think of a comp on
If
the
we're gonna
spot,
switch to a 3-4, but if we're gonna run, I guess to a 4-3, that still works because Anderson, guy we have now, is pretty much hurt.
if I
I know
had to
they
think,
brought in Robert Quinn, but he's
yeah, they
over
did. Yeah.
30.
Yeah, if I had to think on the spot of a comparison, I would probably say Tremaine Edwards. Tremaine Edwards, is that how you say it? Tremaine Edwards for the Bears. I would say
Yeah,
probably that's a close comparison, but like freakishly athletic. But I'm looking at this like I don't
they
know.
gave up the 2026 first round pick.
Oh, they must be doing something crazy.
Why the
They
fuck would
better
you
be
give up the
getting like
2026
Luther
first
Burden
round
or
pick?
somebody.
Why would you give up the 20?
Oh, he's about to lose it. He's about to blow. He's about to blow.
Come on, man. I mean, I hope it. Why would you give up the 2026 first round pick though? That's all I'm saying is like, why are you giving up? We don't even have like a shored up
I don't know. That sounds like a get it
grouping
off my
anyway.
chest, right? Oh, the Falcons with James Pierce.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They gave him the first round pick for like
James
why?
Pierce.
They gave him the 2026 first round pick.
Hey, that man better come out here and fucking be Michael Strahan or Bruce Smith or some shit. Reggie White or some shit.
I'm good with the pick. I just don't get why you gave up next year's first round pick.
But wow, I mean, hey,
I
all I
mean,
can,
he
there's a
has the
lot,
measurables.
all I can say,
6'5".
Raph, all I can say is Falcons. That's
I
all I got,
mean,
bro.
like, even if the Rams wanted him, you didn't need to pay that price.
So, you ready for my comp for
Javon
for
Curse.
Pierce? No, Randy Gregory.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're right, T-Rob. It was right there. The Falcons had the blueprint and the template. This is what you trade to get into the late 20s. But nah, Fuck that. Like, first round pick, baby. Cleveland, where you at?
Ain't nobody they want people to pay 20 million of his 45 million that he's due. That's why they couldn't trade him.
Hey, what's up with the Falcons? They just want to pick in front of all the other birds.
Terry Fontenot is just too smart for his own good. Like, the first thing I would have said is like, yeah, why are we giving up a first round pick? This dude was falling to the second round based off of all the things that people said about him. He was falling. So you could have made a better deal. Like, fuck it. What did the Giants just give Houston to get to 25?
Second, third, and a third next year.
And Atlanta got 26 in the 101st overall this year and gave up the first next year.
Oh shit.
Every year, man, it's like I'm sitting in this damn chair and like I shouldn't be making better decisions than you.
Yo, so remember the other night we were talking about how the Ravens are probably going to take somebody that like somebody else should have damn sure been got.
Yeah, they about to get this safety.
You know, that's exactly what I'm thinking is Eamon. That's exactly what I'm thinking. Put him next to Kyle Hamilton.
Or the other guy from Boston College. The other African name we were talking about.
Oh, is Ezaraku.
Yeah, Ezaraku. God damn it, Atlanta. Let me send them my annual message.
Oh man, I can't wait to see what the Ravens do so I can get pissed off again.
Texting my dad right now. Not only is Atlanta pissing me off, the people who are calling the shots.
Oh man. But the Ravens would take Will Johnson, right?
Nah, I think the Ravens are gonna take like probably like the safety. I think they'll take the safety and put him next to, because we talked about how their defense made the turnaround when they moved Kyle Hamilton back. Now, if you could put another safety in there, that's, what is it? A lot like Derwin James. If you could put Derwin James next to Kyle Hamilton, essentially, yeah, you do that. So the James Pierce pick is good. Like, I wanted a guy that's, that the measurable is just like, hey, this guy jumps off the table with athleticism. Get him in the system, see what you can do. I just don't understand the business aspect of what this team is doing. It's like, why did you throw in a first round pick? You could have thrown in a third, or just not ask for their 101st pick. Like, yo, let us get your first round pick this year. We'll give you, would they give up a second this year and a third and a first?
The Giants?
No, the Falcons.
Or the Falcons? I haven't seen I don't think I've seen the full thing yet. Let's see. Let me pull it up real quick. That is nuts, man. Like, all right, let's see. Here we go, right here. So the Falcons traded number 46, number 240, number 242.
First to come back in. What the fuck?
Number 242 in a first rounder next year for 26 and 101.
Sorry, what was it? I'm just pissed right now. Stupid ass.
26 and 240, 26 and 101 to the Falcons, and the Rams get your second at 46, 242, and a first next year.
Man, keeping it realistic, they probably could have got.
Is that fifth
round?
They
probably could have got James Pierce at 40.
Hey, Hey, but they also got intel that we don't have. You know what I mean? Like there might have
Yeah,
been
but
some
the
workers.
Giants just traded back and got a quarterback and didn't give up their 2026 first round pick. Like that's leverage.
Oh, the Ravens, Malachi Starks.
Georgia.
Yep. Oh man, Malachi Starks, as the Ravens always do. Great pick.
Yep. No
Great pick. I
complaints
told you
from any
every
fan.
year, being from Baltimore, but being a Washington fan, I watched the draft and I'm like, why the fuck don't we think like them?
I should be a Baltimore fan. They play and think and draft the way I would if I had the opportunity.
Oh man. So what does Detroit do here? You know, could they go jihad and get another rusher on at the linebacker spot? There were rumors that they might trade Jamison Williams. So do they try to draft a receiver there? I doubt it, but I think they're fine on the offensive line. They got their two running backs. You know what I'm saying? There you go, Mr. Logical, just in case you were wondering.
Ugh, yuck.
You know what I'm saying? I told you Clippers gonna win this series, man.
Well,
I think you picked the Clippers
Denver.
too, actually, but
I picked Denver in 6.
did you? Why?
I just don't have any faith in. I don't have any faith in playoff Harden.
You don't remember Max Kellerman talking about how Kawhi is a more clutch performer than Kobe Bryant?
Yeah, I remember. And then I see he's not on TV anymore, and I wonder why that is. Maybe some takes like that is a reason that there's a spot vacant for us to kind of slide in. But
Aaron Gordon
Atlanta's
still
making
got
me not
11
want to like
points.
sports anymore.
Still 11 points. The Nuggets out rebounded the Clippers by 18 in game 2. Right now the Clippers have a 2 rebound edge. So Daniel Jeremiah's got Jihad as the best player on the board, followed by MRI and Will Johnson just in front of Shedeur, Mike Green, Mason Taylor. Oh man, like the Lions, man. Like, what are the Lions gonna do? Just hurry up and get out the way so we can get on the clock.
Will Johnson.
Nah, they got their corners already. Because remember, they got
Game
DJ
on the line.
They got
Give
Reed
me
from the Jets.
Andre Iguodala. Like,
They got Reed from the Jets, in this offseason. So they're fine at corner. Leave Will Johnson alone. Buckeye Moody, still holding on hope that Washington takes Travion Henderson.
why'd they trade with the Rams? Unless they thought Baltimore was going to take Pierce, which would make sense. But it's like you're not competing with Baltimore. And you're supposed to get value with your picks, not give it up. Maybe they're going to move this 101st pick this year and Kirk Cousins to somebody. I don't know what's going on here. Maybe New Orleans is calling saying, hey, let us get Kirk.
Well, if nothing else, y'all gave the Rams their Matt Stafford replacement, right?
Who?
With that first round pick.
You know what? And this is probably something that I'm trying to get the Terry Fontenot, Raheem Morris press conference when they have to answer this question, like, why'd you trade a first round pick to move back into the first round this year?
I'm thinking
they're going to say something like, we're not planning on picking high in the first round going forward. We got a good system here, so a pick at 28, 29, or 30, or even 31 or 32 is what we're expecting our pick to be next year. So thankful the Rams will make that deal, but we're gonna bring James Pearson here. We're gonna have a great season here in Atlanta.
Hey
I'm like,
man,
shut.
yo, this
That's what I'm
guy,
telling you. I guarantee that's what this is gonna say. Like, wait
yo,
till the press conference because people can be like, "Why'd you give up a first round pick?"
this guy looks perfect for the Ravens, man. All this energy, he got that Ray Lewis energy right now. You know what I'm saying? Malachi Starks, bro. How about that? Why don't
That's
people
nuts.
value? Are we going to have to start the conversation? Why don't people value safeties?
I mean, if you think about what, like I said, I was talking to my dad about Philly, like what they were able to do in the Super Bowl, because we were having that conversation about Kansas City. I was like, Philly is probably the only team in the league that could have rushed four guys all game long and caused those kind of problems to Kansas City.
Yeah.
I don't think, and I was like, because a lot of quarterbacks, they're not beating the seven. It's seven zone, seven dudes in the zone. It's not too many routes you can run.
Detroit goes Tyleek Williams,
Defensive
from
tackle,
Ohio
State.
6'3", 334. You know what I'm saying? Coming at you.
A meatball in the middle, eating up blocks. Like,
Hail to the Redskins! Hail victory! It's time,
you gotta
baby.
do something better.
It's time, baby. You know what I'm saying?
The trade is in. Cleveland traded with Washington. Take Shedeur Sanders.
So give me one of Will Johnson, Eamon Warry, Hairston, maybe Mike Green.
You've been on the we need a corner
for like 8 years.
Aggressively for the last 2 years.
Like you remember that Black Rob joint on the Bad Boy album? He like, yo, the God ain't had his toes sucked since like 89. You know what I'm saying? That's me waiting on a corner right now, bro. That's me. You know, we got Sanistrill last year. You know what I mean? So, I'm happy with him, but we still need another corner. You know, we finally got St. Just out of there. You know, praise the Lord. But we got Manny Forbes out of there, and I can confirm he still has not ate since he left Washington.
Yeah, that is a skinny. Like, I know metabolism is one thing.
I hope Travis Hunter don't end up like him.
Travis Hunter's bigger though.
He need to eat still. Like, you know what I'm saying? That motherfucker need to eat.
Forbes was 160 in the NFL. That's
Travis is only bigger because of his height.
I mean, he wasn't 160. It's like you can't gain any weight. Like, is your metabolism that crazy that you can't gain any weight?
Let's see.
Oh man.
I mean, Travis Hunter's 185 at 6'1", so it ain't like he's like.
Yeah, that's slim.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You better hope he don't end up the next Manny Forbes or the next. I mean, I don't want to say that out loud. Never mind. Well, I'll say it anyway because this is what we do. I was gonna say you don't want him to end up being Chris Olave either. Knock on wood.
I don't know how. Like, I don't know if it's the route running for Olave or just. I think he just has just really bad luck because some of them he's like going up for the catch. Like he sees the ball, he's high pointing it, he's just like this, and falls straight on the back of his head. Like I think a couple of them are like in the back of the end zone, a couple are on the sideline. It's like I think he just was trying to make a play on the ball. Like I've rarely seen him like get blindsided across the middle of the field.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm so excited right now. I don't even know what to do right now. This is going to drive me nuts until I know who. Like, this is so crazy. This is the first draft, and like, I don't even know. Like, since Chase Young, probably, that I was this excited over.
But it was over pretty quick because he was number 2 overall, right?
Yeah, something like that. Top 3 or 4, yeah. But yeah, I was so excited for that. Buffalo's right after us. Oh man, I'm just
still on the clock. Are they taking phone calls?
No. If we taking phone calls, we're probably going running back in the second round.
My thing is like you've been sitting here, like we've been live for 3 hours and 19 minutes. You had 29. Is it just because they're trying to get the stitching and everything on a
No, they just
jersey?
got to fill TV time. You know what I'm saying? They paid for the NFL paid for 3 hours. Damn it, you gonna get these 3
Yeah.
hours.
So is Pittsburgh going to trade back into the first round?
I don't know,
Give
man.
up their first round pick to get Shedeur?
I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Lethal is having
Mm-mm-mm.
a meltdown because Jihad Campbell is still in the green room. I don't know, man. I'm like, look, just get me my corner. I don't even care which corner it is at this point.
See what we got. Still, oh, Picker's in. Buffalo's on the clock.
Hey, the pick
I
been in
think
for
I
like
think Buffalo's going to take a wide receiver.
the pick been in for like 3 minutes at least.
Maybe they're trying to make sure they spell his name right because it's complicated.
I'm just telling you, man. Come on now. This is driving me nuts.
Well, normally if it's taking that long, that means he's in the building.
I hope so. Something. I
Like,
don't know what's going on
because
right now.
because he's in the building, they got to sew they got to find the color pattern with his name.
Come on.
Like it's a whole process. Like every guy that's in the green room, they have his name on every single color NFL jersey. So if he gets drafted by the Dolphins, you go through the stack and you find Milrow in that teal and then sew it on to a Miami jersey.
Yeah.
Like it's all like so like everybody that's there, it's a stack of 32 fonts and everything for
Offensive tackle. Josh Connerly from Oregon. I was going to sing the rest of the fight song.
but now it's just protect Jane Daniels. At least that pick makes sense. You didn't give up a first round pick to get him.
Fuck that. We just got Laramie Tunzel. Fuck all that. Fuck
Well,
it. Fuck it all.
are you gonna put him at guard?
I guess
Or is
so.
your so is Tunsil right? He's a left tackle, right?
Yeah.
So who's a do you have a solid right tackle?
We don't got a solid nothing. Like our O line is just as bad as our secondary most years. So, last year, Jaden was running for his life. It just so happened that he's good at
Well,
it.
now you won't. You might not have to.
Gone are the days of Jason Campbell. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we got Buffalo on the clock right now. They got a lot of needs. They ended up bringing back Von Miller, didn't they? Or did he go to the Chargers?
I think Von Miller left
Yeah,
Buffalo.
because I thought he left, but then I thought that he maybe re-signed for something lower, but maybe not. Maybe he went to the Chargers, if I remember correctly.
Let's see.
But yeah, so Buffalo, they could go a lot of different ways, saying like they could definitely use some
He didn't go
secondary help.
anywhere. It
Okay, so
said
he's a free agent
NFL
still.
analyst predicts ex Buffalo Bills Von Miller's next team. So he's a free agent. But he's up there. Was he 36?
Oh, and I forgot, I was being so disrespectful. I apologize in advance to anyone in the city of Buffalo because I forgot to say nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
Bills.
So here you go. You know what I'm saying? So it is kind of shitty when you wait this long and get an offensive tackle. Like, even if it's the right pick, it's still shitty that you had to wait 3 hours to get a tackle.
Yeah.
Like, we could have traded up and got a better one. Shit. Like,
I mean, yeah, if you want to give up your 2026 first round pick.
nah, we don't do things like that no more. You know what I'm saying? There's only one
Yeah.
team in the league that does things like that. So we got let's see.
Buffalo decided not to do any deals with Kansas City.
We got
So that's
halftime.
smart.
We got halftime 65-47 Clippers. James Harden with 20 points to lead the way. Kawhi with 9, 5, and 3 assists. Jokic with 9.6 boards, 8 assists. Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon with 13 points apiece. Michael Porter Jr. with a healthy 5 and 4. So yeah, Buffalo Bills, like I'm not gonna say Jihad's name no more, but
78 wins in the past 6 seasons without a Super Bowl appearance. That must be tough. Must be tough for the old Buffalo Bills. Losing Von Miller. I think this would have been a good spot if James Pierce was still available to
but I
kind
mean
of
that might
replace
be the spot
him.
for Jihad. You know what I mean? If you could get him there, because I mean he had, Kansas City's on the clock. He had top 15 value to a lot of people, top 20 at worst. So if you could get him there, and I mean he brings a lot of that speed bull rush that Von Miller got you. You just gotta probably get the technique down.
Yeah.
But I'll take that. You know what I'm saying? Sean McDermott has shown that he can field great defenses. So, I'll take
Yeah, the secondary in Buffalo is always top notch, but like I said, they're always really good up front. It's like they just like I said, I look at so many teams and I just think like why can't the team I'm a fan of make these kind of moves? For it was a stretch of time before we even had this podcast, before we used to speak sports a lot. I was noticing that a lot of Atlanta players that they were drafting first, second round, they wouldn't make it to second contracts on the team.
right.
So either that's you're not drafting talented players or you're not developing them to the point where you want to keep them on. Deion Jones was gone, Keanu O'Neal was gone, was not Beasley was gone, Vic
Yeah, Vic
Beasley, he didn't
Beasley.
make the second contract. A lot of defensive players. Then they'll go get a free agent. Like it'll be a team that had, two defensive linemen. One guy had 16 sacks, the other guy had 9.
Ooh, could
Atlanta will
Buffalo.
go throw the bag at the dude that had 9. I'm like, the reason he had 9 is because the other guy's on the side getting 16. And every once in a while he was getting double. So this dude came through clean. But they don't bolster up the other side. So now this guy's getting all this money, gets nothing. He's out of there in 2 years.
Could
Buffalo's
Buffalo.
pick is in.
Yeah, it's been in. I've been clicking refresh like a madman. Are they gonna get Luther Burden here to put across from Keon Campbell or Keon
They
Coleman?
better because Kansas City will.
You know what I'm saying? Using the NFL draft as keep away is insane.
That's what I think Atlanta did. I think they jumped up to get ahead of because they figured because we said it. We said it was like either James Pierce based off these reports. Like I said, I don't want to believe the reports because they have been substantiated, but that was me and you said it immediately. Philly will use him and Baltimore will use him. No matter what they said about him being uncoachable, Harbaugh will figure it out. Sirianni will let him do his thing.
Yeah. I mean, corner's deep in this draft, so I'm not going to get too worked up about it. So
Well,
Buffalo, Maxwell Hairston.
yep, one corner's gone.
Oh, there you go. Kentucky in the building. Mr. Logical's NCAA 25 hero.
Sleeper, yeah, it was my sleeper team. They had a lot of speed. It didn't show like that on actual game film, but on Madden on NCAA it was legit. But yeah, this is interesting. Like I like the draft. I think every team made
Philly and Kansas City swapped. That's interesting.
either way in hell I'm making a deal with you.
Well, I mean, I
The way
whooped
you
your
the way
ass.
you
You can
beat
do
it
what you want now.
the way you beat up my franchise quarterback, somebody I'm paying $500 million to. You beat the man so bad he cut his hair the next day.
Yeah, on my
But
ESPN, it looks like they
yeah,
swapped,
they
but
swapped. Yeah.
on my CBS, it's still the same.
I'm on NFL.com. It says Eagles on the clock,
All
and
right.
it's
So so if you're the Eagles, what you looking at?
hell. Who
You
knows?
got
They
a
don't
lot.
have a hole.
Well, you got a lot to. Well, you lost Brandon Graham.
But you
Sweat
already
left.
had Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter in the building.
Well, Josh Sweat left. You lost Slay, but you got DeJean and damn, I can't even think of his name
Quinyon
right
Mitchell.
now. Quinyon Mitchell. There you go. You got both of them. Could you look at
Still
Eamon
got
Warrior here?
you still got
Because
Reed Blankenship.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Could you use Eamon Warrior to upgrade over him?
Oh, Chad is a Eagles fan, so he's thinking safety. So
And then
I don't know if Kansas City could have used that safety, but if they do go safety here, I think that works.
you know,
Like I said, I don't think Philly has any holes that they can't fill with
well,
third and fourth round guys because their
Philly
starters are
traded
kind of cemented.
Philly traded CJ as well. So do you go
Yeah,
Eamon Warrior here?
it wouldn't surprise me if you did because, like I said, they have such a the Vic Fangio defensive front and like the scheme. I think they understand it, and I think they have between like I said Carter and Davis in the middle. If Davis can hit another gear at a new level, then you have it's like nearly 700 pounds of Georgia Bulldog right in the middle of your defensive line. That's tough to block. So they're eating up two or three guys at least, and you're getting a lot of one-on-ones. So whoever you have on the edge, like dog, just on third down, you got to beat this tackle.
Yeah.
Like first and second down, we stuff in the run. We have the linebackers that flow sideline to sideline. We have the corners. So we just need you to win third down. These two guys are going to eat up 3 blocks in the middle. We're going to stunt with them, or we're going to stunt with you. We just need you to win third down. Whoever's off the edge, finish the year with 11 to 12 sacks. And I think Philly's good. But like I said, they don't have any holes.
Yeah. I'm thinking either Eamon Warrior or Mike Green. I think it's between those two. Because like I said, they did lose Sweat. They did lose Graham.
Let's see. I refreshed it, and it
They were
still
just
says the
so
pick
they were
is
just
in.
so deep. You know what I mean? Like, what I'm saying? Like to where we
I
can
think
say
Kansas City traded just because they're so used to drafting 32. They just wanted to keep it going.
just tradition, huh?
Just tradition. We wanted to be 32.
Well, I'm interested to see what Kansas City does, because they could go corner, they could go running back, maybe. Maybe they get a Travion Henderson to have. We were talking about that to get that home run hitter.
Yeah, you need to bounce that off with Pacheco because this is probably a contract year for him. So you want to give him an opportunity to really earn it. Like, hey, you know what? We're gonna get another guy in here. It's gonna take some of the load off, but then you're gonna be fresher. You're not gonna be running into guys 3-4 plays in a row, damaging your shoulders. Like, okay, you're gonna get your opportunity to really shine. We're just gonna bring in this young guy, running back guy by committee, 3 tight ends. But I'm pretty sure Mahomes wants to air it out. So any wide receiver run a 4.3 or
Well,
better.
they better get some lineman help.
The lineman wouldn't be a problem if he had guys that could just get open quicker. Because he's back there for a while. It's not like he's out there and they're just being ransacked. The Philly game was an anomaly because none of the route combinations behind the line worked. There just was nothing you could do.
Yeah.
Because it's just they just played 7 guys in coverage. They figured, listen, our front four is going to get there. So stay in your zone, be there with your hands, and play it out that way. So, but I'm pretty sure he's wanted to throw the ball
That's why I called it what I called it too. I mean, it just made sense. Dart and bullseye just made sense. So, we're about to see though. So we're about to see if the Giants hit the center or if they hit the 21 or the 18.
I mean,
maybe they hit the 3. Who knows?
Malik Neighbors wanted a veteran. He talked about it last year. He wanted a veteran guy that's going to help him get better. I don't think he wants the Ole Miss quarterback that they beat a lot.
So Philly and Kansas City was for a 5th round pick. Kansas City gets a 5th round pick out of the deal.
Yeah. I like to say this, and I've said it when we talk about this, like some guys just aren't ready for the moment. So I do it at my son's lacrosse. I did it Saturday, my son's lacrosse game, because sometimes some kids get the ball in their stick and you can just tell like they want to be anywhere else other than the positioner and with this ball in their stick, and these kids hacking at them trying to get the ball out.
Yeah.
And I said something like he doesn't want it or he's not ready for the moment. And one of the moms was like, "Oh my God, that's hilarious. I love it." So on the field today, like some of the players were saying, like, he doesn't want it, he doesn't want it. And you could tell, like, and they'll say heavy, heavy, like that means pressure him when he has the ball. I think Jaxson Dart is one of those guys that just was never really ready for the moment. I don't recall any scenario where it's like, oh, he pulled a Joe Burrow and pulled them out of the depths. Like the game against Kentucky at home. He had an offsides, and it was like, all right, you got a free play. Free play means you throw it deep. He threw a check down on third. It was like 3rd and 11, and they jumped off sides. Free play. He threw a check down. Pressure situation.
Only scored 17 in that game, and then tried to tell us that they were a playoff team.
Yeah, but like I said, that kind of play was like, yo, you have a free play. It's 3rd down. You're down 3. You're on like the 40. Just throw it in the end zone. Like that's every quarterback knows that's the play. He threw a check down, and he was throwing up on the sideline all game, like the following week. So it's just like
Jihad Campbell for the Eagles. Jihad Campbell.
Their whole starting lineup.
I told you that's what they do. That's what them and the Ravens do. They take the players that somebody else should have took like 12 picks ago, and y'all left them there for the bullies to get. So I don't know if this will be
235. He's from Jersey.
I don't know if this will be a Josh Rosen thing as far as the Giants go. Like I think that Josh Rosen, I liked him, but he came into the league with questions to include injuries and all that. But you also had
he had a concussion problem.
Yeah, but you also had a coach that had coached Kyler Murray in college, so he had a familiarity with him. Unless you're bringing in Lane Kiffin,
I think Steve Wilkes was just a lame, like in their opinion, was like a lame duck coach, and Josh Rosen was just not it. You could just tell, like, okay, this guy does not have it. Whatever it is, he does not have it. And why waste a number 1 pick on the coach who couldn't get anything out of the guy we just drafted?
But unless you're bringing in Lane Kiffin, I don't know if that applies. Like Jaxson Dart's going to be their guy, I think.
Yeah, and Brian Dable being this so-called quarterback whisperer, I'm not seeing it.
I mean, apparently, up until this year, he was the offensive coordinator when Josh Allen had his best season prior to this year.
What about like this past season and the previous season when they had DeVito out there just to sell tickets?
Did you not see Drew Lock have his career high game last year?
Yeah, and they should have lost.
But they didn't.
They should have pulled him after he started the game 6 for 6. They should be like, all right, man, you out.
But they didn't, Mr. Logical.
Concussion protocol.
So you remember when I told you OKC was down 27?
Now they're down 16.
Now they're down 12. Or 13 with about 141 left in the 3rd quarter. Say Scottie Pippen Jr. with 25, 5 and 4.
I mean, this is my team, just my team, my team, my team, my team.
If Kansas City gets Will Burden, I'm telling you, I'm about to like just fucking, said NFL teams don't accept no mail with my name on it.
Who's that?
don't accept no mail with my name on it if they get Luther Burden.
Man, I think, let's see if I can get this last little pick on the stream.
Maybe they take Will Johnson here. The offensive lineman probably dried up for now. Maybe you'll get a lineman later. You got Siobhan Ravel from ECU, but he's coming off the ACL.
It's a lot of acronyms.
I don't know what to do with myself right now, man. I'm like,
just wait all the time to get offensive tackle. And like the thing with Atlanta, and as they did, it's like this. You know how you ask your kids to clean the kitchen? Like, hey, man, clean the kitchen. And then you go down there and the dishes are put away and, but the trash not taken out, the counter's not wiped down. But they did their part. They cleaned up all the stuff that they use. Dishes put away in the cabinet, dirty dishes in the sink. But it's like, yeah, somebody cooked. You should have wiped the countertop off a little bit, wipe the stove top off, like kind of really clean it up, like the way I envisioned it. So Atlanta, I'm like, okay, cool. Go defense, get a guy from Georgia, get a guy that's, fits the bill athletically. You did it. Except you gave up too much to get the Philly athletic guy. And then the Georgia guy might not even have been the best Georgia guy you could have got.
Yeah.
Or I need you to shore up the middle of the defensive line. But you got the Georgia guy, right before you could have got the big defensive tackle. So it's like you did what I asked, but I just wish you would have tweaked it a little bit to where it would have fit it if I could have like mapped it out. Like I would have definitely not given up next year's first round pick. I mean, like that's the piece you can use later.
Right.
If you need to, but it's like getting back in here now, like especially if you were willing to part with the first round pick, then dangle another pick and then use the first round pick to move up. It's like because someone's like, "Where are you going to give me a first round pick to move up in the second round?" Because I think the Rams probably make that deal if you just offer them like another fifth,
right?
And now you like if you're willing to part with the first round pick, now use that to come back and get Kansas City went offensive tackle Jaxson Dart.
Facts.
They could have traded that pick for a player.
They could have got TJ Watt.
TJ Watt.
Or Trey Hendrickson. Y'all did good with a former Bengal, right?
Jesse Bates was legit.
I know. All right, Kansas City goes Josh Simmons out of Ohio State. Offensive line. So NFL, you can open your mail with my name on it now.
Yeah.
So hey, before we get out of here though, hey, second round tomorrow, Cleveland with the first pick, the Raiders at 5, Saints at 8. If Shedeur doesn't go in one of those first 8 picks,
he's going in the third round.
I don't know what's happening.
I don't know. I don't know what they're holding against them. I really don't. I really don't know. I don't know why. What did Cam Ward do? And honestly, like it's a couple of things, and we'll get out of here. I remember the one video that they shared on social media.
Hold Oh, if they take Milrow
Ca-
over Shedeur, woo.
Cam Ward and Shedeur were working out last summer, the last off season,
Yeah, yeah.
and he was like, "You're already getting water. You supposed to be leading your team. Yeah, you're getting water already." And he was like, "Man, it's hot. It's Florida." He was like, "Man," he's like, "What y'all do today?" He's like, "I know
Yeah.
I got better. Did y'all get better today?" And I think if you look at those videos, you can kind of see Shedeur is probably like, he probably feels like he's better than Cam Ward. But if I'm a GM looking at a guy who I think is going to lead my franchise, I think Cam Ward deliberately, like organically embodies that. Like even he was like talking shit to him. He's like, "Yo, did you get better today? Y'all out here bullshit. You already sitting down trying to get water. We just started working out." So I think maybe that's it. But maybe his ego is his confidence
Maybe
does
they
scare
think his
teams
dad
off.
is coming with him.
Maybe they really just don't want to deal with Dion. I don't know.
I
But
mean, who
we're
would
gonna
want to
see.
outside of somebody desperate like Colorado?
I mean, it worked.
Has it?
Sometimes you gotta look at the results.
Has it?
Yeah, yeah.
It worked as far as it's worked as far as making money. It's worked as
But
far as
that's all they
those,
care about
those
in college
fans.
football. They
No,
don't care
but when
about the
you say,
prestige.
but in the context of saying that
The whole team.
something
Okay,
works,
the
there
whole
has to be
team.
winning associated with it.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, yes, it
The
does.
whole the whole team at 3.0 GPAs are higher. They're
Cool,
selling out the
awesome.
stadium.
That's
They're
awesome.
getting a lot of spring games. They're getting a lot of attention. They're getting a lot of top recruits. They're getting a lot of top transfers. That's working.
Yeah, now go win.
But
Because what happens? Because what
it's
happens
only
now,
had
right?
it's
What
only
happens
three
now
teams that he
if
can
they
really
go
go
six
to.
and six this year? If they go 6-6 this year, it's going to be, oh, but they got a freshman quarterback. Oh, but they got Caden
No,
Slotus.
it's gonna be
Sloter.
can Dion coach without Shedeur?
And I think
Can
that's a
Dion
legit question.
but I think that'd be more. I think that it would be. I don't think people are going to create excuses for them. I think it's going to be
No, not people in the media, y'all. And you know what I mean by y'all.
talking about the black fans,
Yes.
the
You
new
know what
black
I'm saying?
Colorado fans. I
Yes.
think I think I
Because
think they'll be
I was in
fine.
Boulder. I was in Boulder way before Dion showed up, and ain't nobody give a fuck about no Colorado. Now
Well,
everybody's
that's the
trying to
Dion
overrate
effect.
Colorado or whatever, like you know what I'm saying, because of his presence. Like
No,
you still gotta win.
I'm not rating the team. I'm I'm looking at the results of his presence. The wins, yes, the wins are not abundant, but they went 4-8, then they went 8-5. So it was somewhat of a turnaround. Uh
Definitely. No, he's done a
and
decent
then
job.
the fan turnout, the ticket sales, the energy surrounding the
Yeah,
team.
yeah, for
A
sure.
lot of times, like that's what's lacking in so many programs is like the energy. Coastal Carolina, they were like, you know what? We need fans here. Yo, free concessions. Like sometimes you have to just do the thing, and it's like
No, I'm with
even if
all
Coastal
that. And
Carolina
I
doesn't win
want
7 or 8 games, but if you can pack the stadium, if you can get people excited about being on the football team, because that's all that really happened with Colorado is that the popularity and the polarization of like the polarizing nature of Dion is attracting positive players, it's attracting good athletes, it's attracting good coaches. It's also attracting negative attention because his attitude and his confidence can rub people the wrong way. There's no doubt
no,
about it.
100%. And I want Dion to
Everybody's
succeed,
not gonna rock with you.
but it's time to win now.
But the fans is short for fanatic. Like I don't use the fan result as the like my barometer. I look at the overall, like the totality of the game. Like the way the athletic director is like inundated because you got to keep in mind he probably was out there for a few years and he couldn't get anything to work at the school as far as athletic program. And then you bring in this one guy, he brings in his staff, his energy, his swagger, and it completely turns around. Now you got to hope that he can keep getting these
Got to
players in
maintain now.
and that these players don't try to vicariously live through his accomplishments and his confidence and go put some on the field. So hopefully he can wrangle that in, or maybe he's going to let them, you do the show. You could be theatrical, you can do the minks and everything else, but when you get in this room and it's time to work, it's time to study, I'm gonna have him locked in. Because Deion was like that. Deion was flashy, taking a helicopter to the game and then leaving
He
and
was
playing a
Floyd
baseball
Mayweather before
game.
Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah. So, but he was about work. He did his work. Like
Right.
Deion was
Right.
rarely
And that's
unprepared
why,
and
and that's why I
unavailable.
think that Travis and Shedeur in particular will be fine. You know what I mean? It's just what now? And I mean, there's no way to answer that because we haven't been on the field yet. So
Yeah,
there's
and
no
that's
way to
what and
answer
that's
that.
what I mean about the polarization, because like it might be people who think because he lets you put your Instagram on your practice jersey that it's all fun and games. He was like, no, I'm helping you build your brand. Like the guy he had helped him pitch. He's like, yo, come up, pitch your idea to the team. When the players that had children, and he started college savings funds for each one of the players.
Right.
It's like we see all that, but you still focus on the ego and the flash. But it's like for Deion, that's what he needed to. That gave him his edge.
Right.
The
Right.
flashiness, the style, and everything else. I think it might just turn the this current, especially considering like there aren't any, for lack of a better word, like desperate teams to get a quarterback.
Yeah.
If we look at this draft, it's people are figuring like, you know what? We saw what Philly did to Kansas City in the Super Bowl. So either we're going to not look like Kansas City, so we need to get our offensive line intact, or we want to look like Philly, so we need to get our defense ramped up. And a lot of the picks are indicative of that. Not a lot of wide receivers went. Carolina got the wide receiver because big target. I got a small quarterback. I got to give him a hand. He can see 30 yards downfield.
Right.
So that makes sense. So I think teams made a lot of sense. Like I said, I think I think they got the right players. I
No,
just hope
even
that they
Washington, like
continue.
what they did made sense as far as you got a
Yeah.
young quarterback that runs around a lot. You got to try to keep him in the pocket as clean as you can for as long as you can. So I get why they did it, but I just think that offense has been humming. You know what I mean? Like now you got to balance it out.
You got Deebo Samuel in there, so that gives you at least a threat, a guy who's known to be a playmaker in the league. So he knows how to get open. He knows he runs angry. He runs he runs behind his pads. He knows the
He
game.
runs
So
right to the sidelines in the IR.
sometimes he does get hurt, but
You know what I mean? No, I'm fine
you
with, but the
massage
offense,
that right now. You start putting him
but
into
that's my point. The
situations.
offense is fine. You got to balance now. Like, don't turn into the Cincinnati Bengals.
Well, the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't even think did they get an offensive lineman with this pick, or did they win defense?
They went
Or
deep.
they went edge.
Yeah, they did the right thing for once. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But but that's the thing, and that's the problem that I think I have with sports overall in general is that I would like to see more teams build an identity versus the identity of this is the team that won, so let me emulate them.
If you emulate the right parts, if don't go
Ooh,
out there and be like, you know what, I want to get a corner from Iowa just because Philly and Denver did it.
OKC got it down to 8. Denver's up 22. I mean, I'm sorry, Clippers up 21 right now. So yeah, but no, I mean, I get it, man. But you got to protect the young quarterback. And a lot of these teams, could have probably done something. But the good news is this draft is deep at wide receiver, is deep at corner. And some of the dudes that probably had a lot of first round grades are going to be there tomorrow. So you
Correct.
don't have to feel like, hey, I got the guy that I wanted, but there was the other guy that I was like choosing between, and he's gone. He might not be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's still opportunity tomorrow. And if you're a team like the Browns, it played out perfectly for you if you want to get in the Shedeur sweepstakes. You know what I'm saying? Like Jaxson Dart's gone now.
This is a perfect time to do it.
This is the perfect time to do it. And if you're the Saints, you're sitting there like, if the Browns don't take them with the first pick, now I might have to trade up to get ahead of the Raiders.
Yeah. So being a second round QB it's not the end of the world. It's just you want to hope you go to the right situation. Shout out to Travis Hunter going back home to Florida.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Duval.
Yeah, I'm excited for the Jags. I'm excited to see what Cam Ward's going to do. Philly with the Jihad Campbell pick, is going to wreck shop again.
Jesus Christ. They're going to
I
go
know.
16-1.
I know. The Ravens went and got Malachi Starks, who looks like, one of those guys that is going to be a
Eagles,
cornerstone.
Ravens, Super Bowl.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what I picked this year. But, and then you got what? Will Johnson's still out there. Ravel's still out there.
He'll be a Raven.
Emeka Ibuka went earlier than I thought. Denver surprised me, by going corner.
Yeah, the corner for Denver was different for me as well.
I was surprised that he was still there too.
Unless they plan on unless they're drafting thinking that teams in their divisions are going to start loading up. Because if you look at the Los Angeles Chargers, they loaded up to run the ball. So you getting another corner to stop the 220-pound running back.
Well, I mean, you already got a top 3 defense though, and you just added potentially the best corner in the draft. So, even though you could have probably used a little bit more run support, you can't necessarily look back and say we made the wrong decision, because you still got Cincinnati in your conference. You still got to go against Josh Allen if you're trying to get to the Super Bowl. Mahomes, like you said, wants to throw it around.
Yeah. OKC down 6.
Yeah.
9:36 to go.
Yeah, I got it on now. So
yeah,
I said I'm gonna check this out and pass out.
Word. 4-hour show. Thanks for everybody who tuned in. Appreciate the engagement. Shout out to the 32nd ARS. I'll see y'all in the morning.
Yes, sir.
We'll talk more football. I will be spazzing out more about the Atlanta Falcons. I think the next time I was going to put on the X hat. Like if they did something that upset me, but I was too tired to get up and
just deal with my pain. Out.
Ooh,
did you see that?
Nah. Well, I'm just your face, and Ja being 112 pounds.
Looked like he was about to go up for a dunk, and the defender kind of paused, and he ended up basically flipping over the defender, and he's in the locker room now.
Oh no.
So yeah. But yeah, so I guess we'll be back on Tuesday. We'll be back to do our final draft post thoughts and everything. Catching
what
you up
series
on
is going to be over by then.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So
a couple of them might be over by then.
Yeah. Like this one, if OKC pulls this out. Yeah. Clippers up 19 right now. Knicks got the win tonight. So, we love you. Saying if you haven't, review, subscribe, share, rate, do all the free things, do all the good things. Make sure you get yourself a Liquid Death, saying mighty tasty. And enjoy your sports weekend.
Peace.
Oh, one last thing. Don't bring feelings to a fat fight.
Don't do it.
Peace.